Hey, this is Dan and
Tom.
with, I guess we're going to call it Chaotic Sigmar for now. The Chaotic Stupid Age of Sigmar
Extravaganza.
Or Extravaganza. So this is our first episode we're going to be doing. It's going to cover the new General's Handbook 2019.
Where else would we start?
Yeah, it seems like the best place. So, just an overview of what's in the book. I found it interesting that GW actually posted rules of how to be a reasonable player.
The code of conduct.
The code of conduct,
I like it.
yeah.
There's so like 2 core principles or whatever they call them, right? One I think is just don't cheat.
Yeah.
And the other is be polite and respectful.
Right, yeah. Don't be a jerk. Don't cheat. And
if you're failing at these 2 things already, I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
what
I know,
to say
right?
For you. Probably shouldn't be playing.
I think the one that I found the most interesting out of them, and we're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on this because they're mostly common sense, but, well, never deliberately waste time during a game. I have seen that in local tournaments of people just, you want to yell at them to, like, you have no other choice right now.
Well, so it's always hard to tell whether it's deliberate or just kind of not knowing the rules very well, kind of messing around. But I thought the most fun one that basically neuters the way that everybody plays Age of Sigmar is never complain about your bad luck or your opponent's good luck.
Yeah.
How do you play a game without doing that?
How do you do that?
How do you have banter with one's opponent?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I complain about my own good luck more than anything else, just to make it look like I'm not playing broken lists.
Oh, what a lucky roll!
Yeah, oh man. I mean, the thing is, okay, also with the
Who knows that when you hit on a 3-up and re-roll everything, you tend to hit all
right,
the time.
Right. Yeah, I know. Just so folks listening at home know, I typically have been playing Daughters of Cain for the last 2 years.
Terrorizing the local community with the Daughters of Cain.
Yeah, and your Zinj list is any better.
Well, my Zinj list is just pure shenanigans, and maybe we'll get into later how some of the shenanigans of Zinj have
Yeah, I think we'll cover our army overviews and how they've changed post 2019.
And as a little more background, while I've been playing about 2 years now, after originally testing Age of Sigmar when it first came out and rage quitting immediately, and then getting back into it about 2 years ago, a year before the switch to AOS 2.
Yeah.
And you've been playing it even longer.
I've been playing Age of Sigmar since the first Stormcast Eternals hit the shelves, and I was like, look at this, something new and shiny that...
Finally they took those sharp corners off the bases.
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
could stop cutting our fingers open on them.
Yeah, I actually had a blast in the wild days of early Age of Sigmar because of just how open the rule set was. We were playing games that, you know, boy, you would never play in a tournament. Very much open play style. Just bring what models you have, and whatever you kill is how many points you get at the end. Or yeah, it was bananas.
I went straight into that from a competitive Warhammer 8th edition community and scene, and just thought it was absolute garbage and quit. But since learning about the first General's Handbook, I got a little interested again, and then I think my first game under some reasonable rule sets was with you a couple of years ago, and been loving it ever since. Anyway, that's the background.
Well, almost. Before that, I had 2 years of 8th edition fantasy, and you go back even further. Yeah. So... here we are, year 3, 4 of AOS.
And maybe to tie that back in, since that entire history of playing in Warhammer, the main thing people talk about at the table is complaining about their bad luck and their opponent's good luck. So
the other one GW. I see that GW will never get is never include with an opponent to fix the outcome of a game. Because how many times is it turn 3 and your opponent's just like, dude, I don't want to roll dice anymore. Or you're like, great, you've got 37 victory points to my 6. Let's just call it.
But would you call that colluding
to fix the outcome? Well, because you make a decision.
I always thought this covers, like, let's say you're playing your buddy at a tournament and you're down already and you just want him to have the major victories so he can win the
Yeah, I
top
guess
spot or
that's-
some dumb shit like that.
That's more of a collusion, but
That
it's,
would be collusion.
I would
but
say that's a minor collusion. If somebody really wanted to be a jerk, they could call you on that.
I guess I would call that's more just like concession. We're talking about like, all right, you're gonna win with this many points.
Yeah.
I concede.
Well, I think when you tally up victory points at the end, it really balances that out.
Right.
So I don't think we're really going to cover much of the open play or narrative play for folks who are interested in that. That's not really how we play. I do want to say that I think the new army generator for open play looks like it would be a blast to use with somebody who's got that first start collecting box and some other stuff. Maybe it's balanced, maybe it's not, but it looks like fun.
Yeah, I'm not against open and narrative play in general. I feel like I'd always just pick a couple of armies using the match play points just to make sure you're going to have a reasonable game, and then you could just jump into any of the stuff. I think the Streets of Death rules sounded pretty great, and that's kind of seems to be a recurring thing that they've inserted in every iteration of Warhammer since like way back. As far as I can remember, every now and again they just come out with rules for street fighting.
Yeah, well, I have the train. We should try it at some point.
Yeah, they did it at the end of 8th edition and the end time stuff. They came out with some street fighting rules. It's always been pretty interesting, pretty cool.
So, yeah. Then there's a bunch of stuff for narrative play in the General's Handbook. It looks like a great resource for setting up big narrative games. I've done a couple of narrative games where it's mostly like one player versus two players, but you kind of balance out the points and then you make a story around it because you're going to be playing a 6-hour game.
Sure. And after those 6 hours, nobody's going to care who's won anyway.
Cares. Nobody wants to play anymore.
Let's just tell a story.
It always seems like such a fun goal at the beginning. Alright, so what we're going to do here is they've made a huge amount of changes to many of the battle plans from 2019 to 2018. So we will cover that after we cover points and how that has affected, in our opinion, some of the armies.
Yeah, should we? I guess we can come back to this stuff, but there's even more kind of broader changes to just the way they envisage match play in general with this new method for setting up terrain. Changes things a little bit, but perhaps the points is the natural place to start.
I like the idea of covering the... I think the points review and where we think the armies are going to go is...
The points is what everybody was waiting,
what everybody wants.
Sweaty-browed for
a
few weeks before this came out.
I knew it was coming and it hurts harder than I expected.
Right? The big day you discover if your army is going to be playable for another year.
Yeah.
Or completely worthless.
Or which armies you have on the bench you need to repaint.
Exactly. I think we're all, subbed some onto the bench, pulled some out off the bench.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like my Nighthaunt's going to be on the bench until GHB 2020. Then maybe they'll make it great.
Yeah, I feel like GW has... So there's a thing with like designing games and things, and there's two concepts of doing it. One of it is a top-down and versus a bottom-up design. And so I felt like the very first General's Handbook was very much a top-down distribution of points where they took everything and tried to balance it out as much as possible. But now I feel like they've switched to doing a bottom-up where they release, a new book with, let's put this new conflagration of units together in a special battalion and make it just super cool so people want to play it. And we're going to point cost it with,
Yeah, definitely when a lot of the books comes out, it seems like they threw some spaghetti at the wall and saw which numbers it stuck to. And...
How many points should a Terrorgeist cost? Well, let's roll a D3 and find out.
A little inadequate playtesting, I guess.
Yeah.
I think, it could be that playtesters are not provided with full rule sets for this is how this Grand Court is going to work combined with this artifact. And
that list in particular.
Right, the playtesters can't see maybe the full combination of overlapping effects that are going to be possible, and they say, alright, seems like 400 400 points seems fine.
Yeah,
and
sure.
then when the book comes out, you can layer on top of that all these little fancy
the
bonuses.
The Flesheater Courts Grand Court is just, that list is ridiculous. So I actually ran into that right after the book came out in that tournament we played in Syracuse.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, this is some nasty business on this person's end.
Coming from a guy who had Marathi.
Yeah, coming from a guy who plays
on the table.
Coming from a guy who's bringing his own.
Which in that list you probably did have the tools to beat it. It's just it was probably so overwhelming at that point because it was new and
it wasn't.
Knew about it.
I told you how it went down, right?
What happened? This is Gristle Girl, by the way, but he's playing against the highly tuned Gristle Girl, Zombie Dragon, Terrorgeist, hitting first, going twice, etc.
Yeah, so what happened in that game is I made a misplay on turn 1 and used Marathi to cast spells.
Should have switched tried to
Should
pin
have
down
switched
that
her right away.
Terrorgeist.
Yep, but he moved it, not the general. On my turn 1, I pinned his general and a fellow Terrorgeist with the Melusai, but I couldn't get enough in the pile in to kill both of them.
And they didn't just shred you with...
No, man, Melusai are ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe.
So what I'm looking forward to now is running more Melusai.
Right.
But we'll cover that in a bit.
But even,
then on turn 2, I transformed Marathi, threw her into a Terrorgeist, and somehow missed.
You missed with
all
everything.
over her attacks.
But even if you'd just done that early, at least she pins that Terrorgeist down all game because it can't kill Marathi.
Yeah.
In a few turns at least.
Yeah, and then I dealt with another Terrorgeist by feeding it 60 Witch Elves.
Mm-hmm.
They killed it, but I was down to a unit of about 4 Witch Elves when they were done.
Right.
Just because they don't have the tool. They're not the Nutcracker for that one.
And just to put a pin in the fact this is not just anecdotal evidence or whatever, the stats compiled by people like Honest Wargamer and stuff like that, they show the Gristle Girl win weight has just been...
Oh yeah, I've been watching that list since
absurd.
I lost to it and went like, wow,
crazy,
this is, I thought this was broken, but considering it's trashing tables...
So that was the state of the meta, I guess, whatever you want to call it. This Flesheater Courts list is pretty much ruling the roost.
Yeah, I mean...
Skaven seem to be doing well in general.
Skaven are doing well. I don't think they're doing overly well.
No, Skaven is altogether a more interesting concept, I think, because there's a bunch of different builds in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting units. Some things are maybe just a little underpointed and need to be addressed, but overall it's a really interesting book, I think, not just Flesheater Courts that just has this one ridiculous build that...
I mean, you can still build Flesheater Courts where I think it's a
competitive
list,
exactly.
but not the shenanigans that it is,
Mm-hmm. Daughters of Cain have never gone away as a great army, I think.
No,
they just have everything going for them. They've got great durability.
If you look at the tournament lists from England, they're all... Daughters of Cain have the highest win percentage overall, or at least they did.
They're just very reliable.
Mm-hmm.
They're very predictable, reliable. You've got the tools to... I feel like every time another really broken list comes out, DOK are kind of alright, we probably have the tools to deal with that. Gristle Girl, Marathi is a good counter. Skaven, just the insane speed and durability to shut them down is a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, you can mulch Skaven with Daughters of Cain.
Right.
Easy enough. Okay, so anyway.
Yeah. That's just a flavor of how things were looking. And obviously the goal of the new... So we're in the little supplement now, the Pitched Battle Profiles 2019. And obviously the goal from GW's standpoint, presumably, is to bring a little balance back to the game, right?
Yeah.
Things that were bad should be pushed up a little. Things that were good, nudged down a little. With the major caveat that those newer books are not even touched yet, right?
Right.
We know there's a new kind of errata to this, new supplement, whatever you want to call it, coming out.
I do appreciate the supplements, but I wish they would compile all of it in an easy insert or something.
Yes.
Something that makes life a little bit easier, actually. I have the Beast of Chaos book here. So we can review them properly. So, we don't play every army.
But we have experience playing with or against most.
Currently, I play too many Sigmar armies, or
You
have
play a lot, yeah.
too many armies that I've started painting and given up on because I get distracted by the next shiny thing. Which
I'm a little more focused.
I'm fine with.
Mm-hmm. A little more disciplined, maybe. I stick with my Zeech, and I've, been playing a bunch with the Ghost Man as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can talk about a lot of things here. But so we're just going to kind of run through in order.
Sure. Let's start with the good old Beasts of Chaos.
The Beasts of Chaos.
This is an army I think both of us love.
Love.
Yeah.
My first ever 8th edition army was the Beastmen. They were terrible then.
My first Citadel miniatures I bought when I was like 10 years old was a pack of 3 Gores.
3 got the metal Gores.
The metal Gores, because I thought they were so cool.
2D posed.
Oh, yeah.
Weapons out to the side.
Oh, yeah, they were great. Painted them with the Tester's paint kit I had at home. I don't even know what I used them for. I went back to my parents' house and dug through all the old boxes of toys looking for them, but man, if I could have those as the very first model I painted, I'd be so happy.
The start of the journey.
Yeah, little did I know. 20 some odd years later.
So Beasts of Chaos were they like the second book of AOS 2? They came out pretty early doors.
They did come out
AOS
pretty early.
2.0.
Now, I like a lot of units in here. I see Gores went down 10 points, which is... Gores are, I think, a great unit for 10 man, give them a shield, and make them into a speed bump. And at 70 points for 10 wounds with some kind of save, yeah.
But I can see that. When it comes to chaff, I'm always just looking for the cheapest possible chaff to throw down, and on-goals are still cheaper. But once you go up to big units, I guess they're the same. Oh no, that's 30 versus 40.
Yeah. 30 Gores wouldn't be terrible.
It's not terrible. I mean, they got better, so yay for that.
I mean, 140 points to fill out 2 battle line slots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a major difference to the army.
Because I think the Beasts of Chaos have a lot of fun toys, but you have to kind of pick in the army whether you're doing a Beast Lord, Bray Shaman General, or a Doom Bull General.
Sure.
Or...
It's like the Bestigors are a standout unit, right? The Bestigors are amazing.
I think Bestigors are great, yeah.
They're really good. For 120?
They haven't changed at all in points. I think they're brilliant. Not fancy, just a solid beater unit. Choppy,
yeah.
My boy, the Zangor Shaman, went down 20 points.
He sure did, but that is not going to compensate for the Enlightened on Discs of Zeech going up by 20 points.
I just got the stuff I needed to finish my 9 Enlightened on Discs. And
so for me, in Beasts of Chaos, the standout unit has been those Enlightened on the Discs of Zeech. And in some top tournament armies, you've even seen 2 blocks of 9. So now all of a sudden that very powerful list has gone up by like 120 points.
Yeah, which is enough to make you reconsider your list.
Then you're reconsidering for sure, because that affects what you can squeeze in.
I think, Razor Gores went up 10 points and nobody cared.
They went up?
Yeah, they went from 40 to 50.
Because people were breaking the game with their
Razor Gores were just
flooding the board with Razor Gores.
Just broken. Yeah,
right, broken.
I that's a model I would love to see them redo, because I think the concept of Razor Gore is amazingly cool.
But the model is
Is
it still that same hideous garbage?
It's kind of beautifully derpy in a way.
No, I've never seen anyone actually run that. Just like
it's like I don't like the way pugs look, but I like the way Razor Gores look. You know,
there's so many better proxies you can use as a Razor Gore instead of that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Tuskor Chariots, you can now take a brick of 4 for 200 instead of 60 apiece, which is a change.
So this is something that's pretty common through this book, is a lot of Chariots have moved to units of Chariots now, and you can get some little discount by taking a unit of Chariots. My question is a unit of Chariots ever good?
I don't know. We've got the book in front of us.
Well, talking even broader than the Tuskor Chariot here, to me a Chariot is
so what made Chariots was impact hits.
Sure, back in the
back in the day,
all Chariots had impact hits.
And I don't think...
And you tried... They don't, or at least not consistently, they don't do it.
Yeah.
To me, in Age of Sigmar, Chariots fill this really awkward middle ground where, like, I think the two best things in Age of Sigmar are big hordes of choppy models or giant monsters that can fit a lot of damage output into a small footprint, right? And those are kind of the two things you want in your army. Big blocks of models that can hold a point, and then these absolute beat sticks that fit all their damage output into a small footprint. And Chariots just don't do any of that.
No.
They don't hold points, and they pack pretty mediocre damage output.
Yeah, I don't even really see what they can do to kill anything either. They're not... Okay, so Tuskor Chariot, real quick, is move 10, which is sweet. Wound 6, not bad. Save 4+, bravery 6. So if you put them in a unit, you're immediately going to have problems. That bravery 6, you lose one guy, you're rolling a dice.
Right.
They have a grand total of 7 attacks, nothing that hits on less than a 4. Rend on 2 of the attacks. I mean, yeah, just nothing multi-damage.
But I think if I was going to run a lot of Chariots, I'd want them individual anyway, because then you can do things like pin a big horde on each corner of it and leave a bunch of models in the middle that can't do anything.
At 60 points apiece, they're a great, like, fill out your list.
Sure, I throw a couple in, but don't run them in.
And, and my philosophy is always that there should be somewhere around the order of 400 or fewer points that you can fuss with and still keep a list reasonably competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Some armies don't allow that, but Beasts of Chaos, you have 2,000 points of fun here.
Yeah.
Beasts of Chaos, I still think, are going to sit solidly as a tier 2 army.
Solidly middle tier.
Yeah.
I think the high level view of them is that some bad things have gotten a little better, e.g. Gauls, but the actual power level of the army overall, you'd have to say, has gone down because of that hit to the Enlightened. If the power build of the army was a crap load of Enlightened, then it's kind of gone down.
They still have Zangors to run. Zangors are really
solid. I'm just comparing them to where they were before. If you want to still take that power build, you just have less points to play with.
I think they went from a solid 5 to 4.8.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a minor kick down. Blades of Corn.
No changes. Because it's a new book.
Yep.
So we're waiting still.
So we have both played several Corn armies.
At the tournament last weekend I played 2 different Corn armies.
And we've seen Corn army lists that range from like Bloodletter bombs to Blood Warrior bombs
to 4
Blood Reaver bombs to 4 Bloodthirsters.
Hit first at the beginning of the combat phase,
etc.
And overall I think the Corn book was a really successful book. I don't see many
great.
Things that are going to have to change here because of all the books that have come recently. It actually seems pretty balanced.
Yeah, I think it might have been one of their best of 2018 books.
And people are running a bunch of different builds, which
all
means
kinds
it's
of different
a
builds.
successful book.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
From a selfish perspective, I hope those damn Hex Gorgeous Skulls will go up a few points, because I hate seeing those on the table with my Zeech army. Make all my wizards blow up. But, you want some hard counters to magic lists as well.
Yeah, especially if you're not really taking magic.
Sure. So I would say Corn is probably not going to see too many changes when they come out with the
we'll probably
PDF,
see just as much Corn at tournaments as well.
which is a lot, and that's good.
And that's good.
They're
tier 1 with, they'll swing in and take a bunch of wins, but I've never really seen one swing a whole tournament.
Swing a whole tournament, no. And I would, even though ostensibly Corn is a bad matchup for Zeech, I still have a pretty good record against them because
you shoot and run away.
I just shoot and run away,
yeah.
And they are a big aggressive army that has to run across the table towards me, and I like fighting that kind of thing.
Yeah. Unless they go faster than.
But so how are we defining tiers here? Is there something above tier 1?
No.
Some people define this S tier, the super tier.
Sure.
Because to me, you don't want to call Corn tier 1 if there's nothing above tier 1.
So let's define the tiers real quick while we're starting this podcast adventure together.
Super tier, S tier.
Yeah, I would say S tier is stuff that is going to get nerfed.
Exactly.
It's going to get nerfed.
S tier is like the problem tier. Like that should be fixed for the game to be balanced.
Tier 1, I would say, and I would say there's actually a lot of Tier 1 right now.
Which is great.
Which is great. It makes for a very healthy meta. Unlike 40k.
Right.
Which is very rigid Tier 1 and meta list building.
Sure.
Sigmar is wide open. I'd say Tier 1 is something you can expect to go to a tournament and win more games than you lose.
Yeah, and take out tournament, mate. If you play well.
If you play it really good
and you don't get
you have
smashed
good
by
matchups.
One of the S tier, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't run into an S tier. And S tier is more of list than actual army.
Sure, yeah, we'll get into that when we get some of those armies.
But... So yeah, if you don't run into an S tier list, I think a Tier 1 army is what most people who want to start playing it seriously should aim for.
Right, because you're always in with a shot. Like, you've got a real solid chance of winning a few games when you get to become a better player. Take out.
And I would say what defines Tier 2 is probably, I don't know if they're even the bulk of the army list right now, but I would say you can take a Tier 1 and make it into Tier 2 by doing a terrible list.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
You can take a Tier 2 and make it into a garbage tier. Mm-hmm. Pretty easy.
Tier 2 is just missing that little bit that it needs to win a tournament. Like, however well you play it, if you come up against some reasonably skillful players with a better list, you're just not.
Yeah, I would say if you're a great player, really know your army list, really familiar with your rules, are familiar with what you're playing, you are going to win more than you lose on a Tier 2 army, but you're going to fight for it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Every step of the way. It doesn't have the toolbox that a Tier 1 army will have. Mm-hmm. So, and then below that is...
the garbage tier. Yeah. You could break it out into various tiers of garbage, but I think we can just call everything below Tier 2 kind of garbage. Like, you're just struggling.
Yeah,
like,
you're playing
playing with a hand behind
Corsairs or... I mean, so the way that they've broken up Sigmar, which that was my one wish on the
GW.
Well,
when we get to the order section, we'll get into
Order is a disaster, but they're starting to put Chaos nicely back together.
They are. I wish they could have used this to just stitch some of the old Dark Elves back together.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if you ran an Order Serpentis list, you're playing with both arms tied behind your back and your foot in your mouth.
You just really love Cold One Night models.
Yeah, exactly.
You love them. You put them on the table, you're gonna get stomped.
You are playing for fun. You can't play a garbage tier list and complain about losing.
Sure, but then on the other hand, occasionally you'll go 3-2 at a tournament and people will think you're an absolute legend.
I know.
You'll become the staff of legend for getting that mediocre result at a tournament. So there's some winning
there are a couple of army lists that have moved from Tier 1 from garbage to Tier 1.
In this book?
Not in this book, but over the last year.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Night Goblins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Flesh Eaters were maybe Tier 2 and moved straight...
Oh, they were low Tier 2.
They were low Tier 2 and moved straight into the S tier.
Yeah.
Do not stop. Do not pass go.
Do not pass
straight
go.
To the S tier.
Just that one list. I think the regular Flesh Eaters list is a good Tier 1 army book.
So just to backtrack a little, before this book, I would say the really strong Beasts of Chaos list with all the Zeech stuff would have been a Tier 1. The rest of Beasts of Chaos would have been Tier 2.
Yep, but more fun to play.
Yeah, more fun to play. The points changes have maybe nudged down that Zeechy Beast list into upper Tier 2.
Upper Tier 2.
Maybe time will tell.
So, Demons of Chaos, the Soul Grinder went down again. Hooray.
Keep it coming, bro. Keep on coming.
I mean, they're inching in. I think you should be 240.
No! What? So when I started in Age of Sigmar, I played a Soul Grinder because I just had that from a bit of 40k experimenting. So it was in all of my Zeech lists. And at that point, it seemed fine because Zeech was just so broken cheap anyway that I could fit one in without really sweating. Since Zeech all changed in AOS 2, there's no way I'd even include that at 220 probably. Well, it would have to come down to 220 for me to be looking at it.
To look at it and
in
you're
any serious way. Yeah.
You look like you could be fun again.
So it was 280 in the 2017. Went
Yeah,
down
that's
to
what I was just looking
260 in 2018.
Yeah, it's still
now
too
down
high.
to 250. Keep it coming. In 3 years' time, you'll have got me. If you
Yeah,
keep it coming.
just drop it to 220
Just
and see what happens. Exactly. See who goes out and buys the Soul Grinder.
I'll buy it at 220.
There's sweet models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some of the Chaos armies that don't have any shooting, gives you a little bit of shooting, has a couple of shooting attacks on it. It should, well, we don't want to get into rules, but it should have some regen on it. Whatever.
Yeah, we can go into rules later.
Whatever.
Different next episode so the plan for this is to cover separate armies with some of our friends. Specifically, I have a bunch of friends who are sitting with models.
You don't have any friends, Dan.
I know. I have a bunch of
acquaintances
of different armies and books, so we'll go over them and I'll pretend to be my other friends.
You're playing different characters.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like D&D.
Anyway, this Demons of Chaos section is just a few random holdover models that you can slot into an army if you want.
Like Furies. Woohoo.
Anyway, on to the juicy stuff. The Disciples of Tzeentch.
Yeah. Still call them a Tier 1 army. Been there since the book came out.
So, yeah, I think a lot of people classed Tzeentch as Tier 2 since AOS 2.0.
I always considered, I don't think Tzeentch moved. I thought it got...
They moved. They definitely moved
down.
Oh,
they moved down.
They were solid S tier.
They were S tier, yeah.
Until
and then
AOS
they moved
2.
to Tier 1.
Yeah, they were probably still
But
tier
they were
1.
also S tier with about anything other than Chiric Acolytes you could throw into a list.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't really build... When the Tzeentch book came out, it was one of the first with like true army rules, and you couldn't build a bad list.
It was dripping with mortal wound output.
Yeah, I mean, I played games where I had opponents giving up on turn 2. So
that's the history of Disciples of Tzeentch, but since AOS 2.0 dropped, they've been...
Yeah, they were
majorly
hard.
balanced. A lot of things changed in points. Horrors changed a lot. And I think a lot of people just walked away from the army because they were so kind of perturbed
a lot
by
of
all
pretty
the
stuff
changes.
came out since then.
Yeah, people walked away. Now I think people are going to be coming back for a nibble.
Yeah,
of the old Tzeentch apple.
It's still a good... I've thought about it myself.
Yeah, points have come down on a lot of fairly important things. Namely the horrors. The pink horrors of Tzeentch, they had gone up to 200 points. It's a lot for a 10-man squishy unit. Of course, you're paying for all of the blues and brims that get summoned from that. 200 was still pricey, although I think people were not using them correctly. I think I used them correctly in that you should always just try and kill your own horrors and then summon blues and then grow back the pinks,
Yeah,
right?
I think the way you play Tzeentch is... It's worth describing why we consider this a Tier 1 list. It's mostly because when Tom plays, he uses a very cheap endless spell, whatever the cheapest he has.
Well, no, I've switched to using a slightly more expensive on the Pendulum because you have such control over where it's going to go in the game. An opponent can never use it.
To knife his own pink horror. So
knife your own pink horrors. You get... you knife 2 units, get 2d6 worth of horrors dead, so 4d6 worth of blue horror summon points. So you're using your turn 1 to just summon 2 units of blues, probably grow your pinks back with your 1s on the fate dice from Battle Shock, and then you've just got these 2 new units out for free.
And I've lost to you because of those units spawning
because
at the
that's
end.
just a new chaff. It's just a new... Well, early game, it's a new chaff wall that your opponent then has to go through.
Late game, you can surround objectives with just spawning in a ton of horrors.
Late game, you're just retreating some character out of combat, summoning 10 horrors within 12 of it, and winning a game on the objective. And so those summon heavies each lists, I think, have always been powerful. Now, at 180 point horrors, we're going to see them a little more. The other thing that's being talked about a lot now is that this reduction in pink, blue, and brimstone horror points has reopened the door to some of those crazy battalions. The Change Host, that bogeyman of AOS 1.0. Right?
It absolutely was. That was the...
There were 2 busted broken lists in AOS 1, right? The Vanguard Wing and the Change Host. Both busted.
Vanguard Wing nobody picked up on until later.
Late AOS 1, it was a really
late AOS 1, and then, it was...
But they were
awful.
both S tier for a very similar reason, right? In that they could do some crazy movement type shenanigan that completely broke the rules of movement in this game.
Yeah.
They addressed the Vanguard wing by just changing the rules completely for that battalion. They addressed the Change Host by just raising the points of horrors so high that nobody could really play it.
Yeah.
Now what's happened is the points have come down enough that I think people are going to start playing.
But also,
again.
they've released more powerful armies.
Yeah, they've released more power. I don't see...
There is power creep between the
sure.
years we've been playing AOS.
Yes. Yeah.
Alright.
So I definitely don't see Change Host being anywhere near what it was, but I think the door's open to it coming back. Just try and finish up Zeech real...
Changeling dropped 20 points.
Meh.
Yeah. He's a cool unit, but...
He has a cool gimmick.
Yeah, he's very much a gimmick.
And once an opponent knows what he does, they're never gonna...
Gaunt Summoner went down 20 points.
Yes!
Which is good.
He was real good. All of my lists, he was nuking half a unit of Witch Elves off the table.
Yeah, he's just broken and gross.
You know what has changed, though, is he's lost the little familiars that he came with.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, it gave him 4 extra wounds. They gave him +1 to cast. They gave him -1 to be hit
so
by
that
other stuff.
+1 to cast.
Yeah, but that +1 to cast was real good. And the 4 extra wounds. So, I'm pretty happy overall. He's come down, makes him a little easier to fit in the list, but you've lost a few bonuses on him. Seems like a reason.
So this is something GW is doing as we get to the Ogroid Thaumaturge that I don't agree with. If you look through your General's Handbook... over the ages, 2017 is very much everything ends in an even 20 points.
Yeah.
You start to see these 10 ending with 10 points, so 150 points for a model, or 50 points for this, or 130 points for that. And they really expanded on that in this one. Yeah.
Because sometimes 10 points is the right increment, though.
I think it's the right increment, but they need to go harder on that.
So that you have options can make better combos to put those together.
Because, like, I mean, it's just dealing with the list building math. First of all, I'm much happier with this than building an army in 40k or 8th
where
edition.
you're like, where every model is adding like 4 points to the unit, and then you're like...
I mean, some people love the Excel work. I'm cool not doing that. I like being able to tally it in my head.
Exactly. Yeah. My army has 7 units. I add those 7 numbers together. I get 2,000 points.
So that said, the Thaumaturge went down 10 points. Which, neat.
Thaumaturge.
Yeah, Thaumaturge.
Thaumaturge.
Yep, forgot the R. And I think that's in the right direction. I think he could drop another 10 points.
I actually used him.
He's
and
good.
He was good. I mean, the firing out the brimstones across the table is super powerful because you just put some models in a place that says, like, do you want to leave this spot now? But yeah, seems fine. 10 points.
Yeah. Drop him to the same crest of the Zangor Shaman.
Sure.
And the Zangor Shaman does so much.
So then we've got, the things that we also already talked about in the Beasts books. Shaman down 20, Enlightened up 20. That sucks for people who ran a bunch of Enlightened. I've always been a die-hard Skyfire fan. I never made the change to Enlightened, so I don't care. My Skyfires are still exactly the same cost that they ever were.
Flamers went down as well.
So, Burning Chariot, Exalted Flamer, and Flamers all came down. Keep them coming, is what I say. I
would love to build...
No, there's some
Flamers of Tzeentch into an actual list. There's
some
cool.
really interesting battalions as well that are all Warp Flame Host or something. But I just need them down more. Like, Flamers, 120 maybe we can talk. 140.
Yeah, it's
not fighting.
No. In 2018, they changed a lot of battalion prices, but for the most part, battalions stayed the same.
Yeah, battalions have stayed the same.
So we're not really going to cover too much about battalions, also because that's a lot more rules, and I think we know what they do.
But the notable thing that you will see more, my prediction, much more Change Host. And that's purely because of the model costs, not anything changing in the battalion.
Yeah. He Knights of Slaanesh, we're going to just pass right over Everchosen.
Did Archeon change? Nope.
Nope.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks for that.
Archeon is still what he was before. He's awesome. Varangard are incredible models. This is definitely a army you would build if you love Varangard, you love the Archaon model.
So did Varangard come down another 20? Is that what we're
That's
looking
what I would
at here?
assume.
Probably came down 20.
Yeah, 20 points, yeah.
The thing holding Varangard would appear on a bunch of lists, I think, if you could give them a mark on the War Scroll.
Yes.
But you can't. You can't give them a mark unless Archaon's on the table too.
Yeah,
So that's
and
garbage.
if they weren't $100 a box.
I would pay $100 because they're really cool models.
Really
Each one
cool
is
models.
like a hero. I would buy
Yeah.
3 Varangard, and I would run them maybe not at tournaments, but in some games I would run them in my Zeech army if I could give them keyword Zeech.
So,
Anyway,
Heathen Knights of Slaanesh.
Ah,
Have you seen any play on those? 'Cause I
I
have.
played them like 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah?
The book right here. Been doing my opposition research.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I played
You are on
I
this.
played Garner a bunch of times with his Heathen Knights,
Okay.
and they're really good. They're really, really good. The summoning on them is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can rack up the points faster than any other of the chaos summoning mechanics. The Heathen Knights rack up the summon points.
I don't know. I didn't really. I mean, I'll look through the book right now. I didn't see anything.
No, you're not
that
going to
seemed-
learn anything from it right now. And the power in there is a little subtle. Actually, it's not subtle at all. It's in 3 Keepers of Secrets, which are absolutely bonkers. 2 or 3 Keepers.
That's, yeah.
They're so good. Once you factor in the summon points that you're earning from them, you're looking at about 200 points a model. Because when they die, they're 380. When they die, you're getting enough summon points to summon in about 180, 200 points worth of models. So you can just buy multiples of them, throw them in. They do insane damage, and then you're getting another
Yeah, their
another
attack
second
profiles
army
are,
afterwards.
the attack profiles are very, very good.
And they just have all kinds of like they have a lot of hit on 6 rules, do exploding things,
the-
do more.
5 damage a hit at Ren 2.
And they have the and they have the U strike class thing as well. Have you seen that?
Yeah. I was aware of that.
So they pick a unit on a 2-up, that unit strikes at the end of the combat phase. So they are actually a counter to the Gristle Girl, crazy Terrorgeist guy. They can charge him and say, you're hitting me last.
And the new models for Slaanesh, if people have been waiting for Slaanesh armies, which I hear about a lot on the internet, I hope you're happy. I think they look great.
Not my cup of tea.
Not my cup of tea, but...
More a fan of weird chicken monsters.
Yeah,
but
I'm the same way.
If
but
you like this type of thing, then it's really good for you.
I think the Keeper of Secrets and the new, what is it, Celesky,
And
the 2 stacked together.
Yeah, and there's
It's
the
great.
epitome, the little mirror
Yeah.
thing with little tendrils. It's cool too.
Yeah. The new mask is a great model as well. I think they did a great job on that.
I think there's a lot in there for army building. They're actually one of my hot picks to take over as a top tier army.
Okay, so you see them as... They are going from garbage.
They're going from garbage tier to tier 1.
Okay.
I would say, especially with... Because I don't think they're even going to get touched in this FAQ that's coming out in July because they're so new.
Yeah.
So I think we see Flesheater, Skaven come down and Heathen Knights being maybe top of the pile or thereabouts.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
I think we'll see.
Yeah, we don't have anything to talk about here because since the book, nothing has changed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Maggotkin of Nurgle. I think Nurgle's still at that kind of low end of the tier 1 armies.
I would say 2. When they first came out, well, they
Tier
first
2,
came out
or you would
just-
agree?
I would agree low tier 1.
Yeah.
You can definitely win a tournament with them if you built a really good list, played well, and didn't get smashed by Gristle Girl.
Or, yeah, something that will just rip you apart like Daughters
Right.
of Cain.
I think they were middle or top tier 1 for a while because the whole gimmick of Nogal is they're just super hard to budge, right? They've got all of these saves. They're the immovable object. What I think has changed is the last few books, they've just ramped up damage dealing to another whole level where even Nogal's not really enough to stand up against it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Maggotkin had a great... I still think they're a great army.
Because Nurgle had that very specific type of resilience where you're just going to create a wall of models and let the enemy punch you and punch you and punch you, and you'll stand there.
Homer Simpson in a fist fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Homer Simpson against Drederick Tatum or
Yeah,
whatever that box
exactly.
image
I'm
is.
just gonna win by getting beaten forever.
And now I just don't. They just can't do that against Slanesh or Gristle Girl. All those things that just kick out so much damage.
Yeah, they just wail the mortal wounds around.
Exactly. So, but I still think they're fine. So what actually has changed here? All of the mortal on fly things have gone down. So the Lord of Afflictions and the Puscoil Blight Lords have come down 20 each.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they just got reductions across the board.
Yeah. Which is fine.
I think we'll keep them in tier 1.
It'll keep them in tier 1. It's not like... So what you're not seeing is the stuff that was already really, really good coming down in points.
Right, but...
And that would move them up the ladder, right?
Right.
If that had happened.
I think this is probably just going to keep them where they're at.
Or what's happened is it's maybe given you some more options for how to play competitively.
I mean, the Sloppy Wild Piper went down 10 points.
So you're going to win.
Yeah,
you're going to
win right there.
You got your Wild Piper.
I mean, you don't need a better name for a unit than Sloppy Wild Piper. It was like if I named a unit.
Sure.
Actually, we'll get to the Night Goblins later.
Anything?
Gaventide has not changed, and from reading the Skaven book cover to cover multiple times to see where a list was in there, it's like opening up it's like going to Denny's and opening up the menu. You've just got everything in front of you. You can really do whatever you want with Skaven. They army building for that is so much fun. So
there's a few kind of broad list types I've seen that are super competitive. They're like Plague Monk spam. Really, really good.
Yep. The one where you bring the you basically run a unkillable
the Warp Seer.
The Warp Seer who just can't die.
Yeah, because you can give him a 4-up, rerollable, unrendable with some bonus saves.
Yeah, so I spent all this time reading through my Skaven book and then decided on the list I'm going to build, which is I went full Scryer, because I'm crazy.
No, but that's good. Scryer's real good.
And what I like about Scryer is things will either go horrifyingly right for you or horrifyingly wrong for you.
You're going to roll some dice and you can be packing up your models turn one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or your opponent.
I miss owning an army like that, where it's, if you think of what we really aim for with, I think, to put it in basic math terms, is a bell curve of performance. Mm-hmm. And you really want to know where that you've shifted your bell curve up. And that's what moving points ups and downs does, is it moves the bell curve either up or down. Mm-hmm. And ideally, every army would have a bell curve of the optimal list in the center and then kind of sloping down as it, things like that. But Scryer list is an inverted bell curve. Its performance is going to be just amazingly,
right? So like very competitive players are always looking for a reliable, predictable list, right? Have so many rerolls, or I'm rolling so many dice. That's why daughters are so good, right? You're rolling so many dice that you're going to hit average most of the time.
Yeah.
Like with a Scryer list, you're going to be rolling a dice that has a huge impact on the game.
Absolutely.
And I like it's kind of bringing that fun of the old Warhammer misfire tables and stuff into Age of Sigmar, which they kind of simplified out of the game when they streamlined everything. Right?
I think they streamlined it a little too hard for some of the fun rules. I think certain armies should be very... I push the button and it does the same thing every turn, but Night Goblins should not be one of those armies.
Sure.
Night Goblins should be killing themselves just as much as everyone else, but they gave that all to Skaven now.
So they're bringing that fun on the War Scrolls.
Yeah.
So what tier is Skaven?
I mean, I think you can build a garbage Skaven list just as easily as a tier 1 Skaven list.
But if somebody's going to win a tournament...
If you want to go to a tournament, you want to bring Skaven, I don't think you'll have any problems doing a bit of research and coming up with a tier 1 list. And I think you even have some flexibility in that tier 1 list.
But I think they're borderline S tier as well. Because some things are just a little too efficiently costed.
Yeah.
But like the Vermin Lord Warp Seer we're talking about, he's 260 points.
Yeah,
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, it's his abilities.
He's going to make your whole army Battle Shock immune. He's going to earn you like 2 command points a turn on average. He's unkillable.
He's unkillable. Yeah, I mean...
It's crazy. But I think with Skaven, there's a few small things that make them borderline S tier. And I predict those being knocked back just enough in this new FAQ that they become just solid tier 1 army exactly where you want them.
Yeah, I think Skyer is right at the high end of tier 2. Because you just can't control it.
Right, you can't control it.
And the units you're taking are fairly restricted. And you have to take a lot of units that just do wacky stuff. But if that's what you're into.
It's one of those armies that you could sit down and math it out and be like, oh my god, this army is going to do like 200 damage turn 1. My opponent is going to... And then you'll go to a tournament and your army's going to completely whiff and you're going to blow your own models up.
Yep.
And that's how it goes, right?
Yeah. So, I think Skaven are great. I'm glad they moved away from having every player who wanted to play Skaven having to paint up 120 clan rats to start playing.
120 clan rats is still a good choice.
Yeah.
Still a good choice. Let's just say a couple of points moving up, and then I think Skaven's great.
Yeah.
Great.
So I think Skaven is going to be locked into tier 1 again.
Locked in.
Yep. Slaves to Darkness.
Talking about armies not being locked in top tier.
Poor Slaves to Darkness, the old Chaos Warriors without any of the fun stuff.
They're absolute garbage, and this didn't help.
Yeah, no, nothing here helped. Allowing them to take units of Chariots is the same thing we discussed with the Beasts of Chaos.
I mean, they just have a slim set of allegiance abilities in the main book that it is not enough to tie these. You have a bunch of like pretty mediocre units, and if the rules don't make them any more than the sum of those mediocre parts, right? The allegiance abilities.
There's a couple of single units in here. If you can take them as allies, maybe worth bringing in.
People do like a big unit of Marauders, it's just some cheap battle line. Well,
you can't ally in battle line.
No, but
unless
just
you can
a
give
big...
them a mark, and some books do allow you to.
Yeah, like in Zeech, they can be a battle line because they can take a mark.
I'm still a huge fan of the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. I think
a little pricey now, I'd say.
Yeah, but for what he can do, his spell is really good.
And he gives a free, free Mystic Shield, basically, to someone, right?
Yeah.
Just for a freebie. He's fine, but in a lot of... Like, Slaves to Darkness, you're either running a terrible army, which is just Slaves to Darkness, or you're looking for units to fit into your god armies. And a lot of things like the Sorcerer Lord is just not going to replace some other wizard in my Zeech army.
No.
So.
But if you're really scratching your head and you're playing Beasts of Chaos, remember you can maybe pull something useful out of Slaves to Darkness.
Well, what actually changed, it looks like Chariots, you can now get 3 of them for 210.
And Marauder Horsemen.
Have they come down from 100 to 80?
I don't know. Those models are tragic.
The Chaos Chariot's a pretty cool model, though.
Chaos Chariot is a sweet model.
It's a really sweet model, and now you can put 3 of them in one really bad unit. You can
have probably the most awesome 3 chariots stuck together in all of AOS. The models are fantastic, but what they do is sad. Again, impact hits.
Where's the impact hits? Do you remember in 8th edition there was this Chaos Warriors army that was like 10 models total. You took just chariots. You got a Nogal demon.
In 8th edition.
And it was baller.
I played a list of 3 units of 3 goblin chariots. Because they were like 50 points apiece. So it would cost
Still
you...
goblins,
yeah, but you didn't care. If they connected, you were doing like
Impact hit. Yeah.
3d6 impact hits. You're just wailing your opponent to death with it.
Right.
Just gross.
So what we're saying, GW, is
Bring back impact hits.
just put a generic rule. Anything that has Chariot in the name does D6 impact hits.
D3 mortal wounds is fine.
D3 mortal wounds. There we go.
I mean, the whole concept of a chariot is to run over stuff in, this. Obviously, real battlefields, it was about maneuvering people around.
But then if you want to tempt me into taking a unit of 3, you've got to make that more than the sum of the parts, right? If they're in a unit of 3, they do D6 each, because just like the overwhelming crushingness of being hit by 3 chariots. Otherwise, nobody's being tempted by these units of 3 chariots.
Yeah. It's a shame, too. And the bits in some of those chariot kits are just fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen them kit bash and all kinds of stuff. So, we mentioned them before. And we're coming to them now, the Flesheater Courts.
Okay, so
no changes.
Jumped into death.
Yeah, we are in death now.
So, roll on mid-July, whenever it is they said they're releasing this PDF, and you will receive a massive nerf bat to the face.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, have fun.
Hope
jerks.
Hope you survive in Tier 1.
Yeah, I think they will survive at right about where Nogal is in Tier 1 after it. I think that's what they maintain.
I mean, a lot of the touches in this book have been light, I would say.
Yeah, this is very light touch.
It could be too light and leave them... I mean, any change in points upwards is going to be welcomed, right? They can just have a little bit less stuff on the table. So I'm happy for any of these points moving up, but if they really want to fix them, you'd want to see some of this being aggressive.
I think they need to do the same fix that they did for the Vanguard Wing and just...
actually change the rules.
Change the battalions around.
I mean, it's just Gristle Girl, right? They just basically
Gristle
need to rewrite a rule in Gristle Girl that says...
They just need to take this out. Battle line of Gristle Gore. That's it.
No, because I think you see a lot of strong lists that are even just the 2 hero Terrorgeists and then a bunch of ghouls and stuff, and that's still really, really strong.
Yeah, but they're not as...
It's specifically
They're strong. They're just not the, sloppy cheese of running...
I would think that even
5 Terrorgeists.
I would think that 5 Terrorgeists is even the right way to play them. The best way, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
I think the power comes from that single general being able to hit first, go twice, score extra hits on all of his 6s, do 6 mortal wounds, reroll all of that because of some... It's just the overlapping of all these things, right? You get to give him a mount trait, which makes the mount reroll all of its stuff, and then you get to give him his run and charge spell and all of this stuff.
Yeah, mount traits are something that they've recently introduced, and they're...
I've seen a lot...
Odd choice.
It is odd choice, especially being able... When you take a battalion, you can just layer in more of those as well, and there's no rule of 1, so you can just give every Terrorgeist the same mount trait.
Yep, I mean, when you're stacking cheese...
Yeah, the cheese stacks high, my friend.
Yeah.
But I think you could do it with points. If everything's going up 20 to 40, then you've just got less stuff on the table, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I think with doing it, they shouldn't necessarily do 40 points, but they should make a Royal Terrorgeist 337 points. Hold on.
Go on.
And a Royal Zombie Dragon 357 points. So you can't actually add the points together to build a coherent list. See?
Okay.
So it's actually costing you a bunch of points you can't spend.
Extra points that you can't spend.
See, that's how to do it.
Like a built-in tax.
Yeah.
I think...
So really they're costing you another 20 points each on top of that, but it doesn't seem like that because, Anyway, enough fun with math.
Just give them a little nerf bat.
Yeah.
Liberal application of nerf bat, and we're all...
I don't even think it needs to be... Yeah. It's not game-breaking like Vanguard Wing or Change Host.
I see a lot of people complaining now. It's like, no, my friends. You
never had 30 Liberators in your face on turn 1.
AOS 2 newbies. Since AOS got good again in AOS 2, all these people are jumping in. There was way crazier stuff than this in the past.
Well, I'll get to it later because their army isn't for a while. But Legions of Nagash, I think, are... Oh, God, did Graveguard go down?
They did.
Ah, that's beautiful.
They sure did.
They deserve to go down.
So, background, Legion of Nagash was a solid tier 1, potentially upper tier 1 before this.
Yeah.
Mostly because of this cheese build that brings in all of the cool Nighthaunt stuff, right?
Yeah.
Specifically, even more specifically, the Grimghast Reapers, because they were busted good. You could bring in like 2 units of 30 of them into your Legions of Nagash, kill stuff with them, bring them back out through a graveyard when they die because they're summonable, etc.
Yeah, they're not even on here, are they?
Well, they're in Nighthaunt, and the Grimghast went up 20, so that's a hit.
You see, I think that's I don't know. I think Nighthaunt and Flesheater Courts and all that stuff should just be allies to Legions of Nagash.
I think so too. But they
think
changed all those.
I think Legions of Nagash has plenty of fun stuff.
Yeah, I think they should use the stuff in this list.
I mean,
not steal
you can
Nighthaunt
play
stuff.
with skeletons, zombies, and all kinds of cool Black Knights, Blood Knights, vampires. I mean, you've got all your
classic
here.
undead toys.
You don't need the ghosts.
But the point when they hit the big time, results-wise, was when they got the ghosts.
Yep.
When they started bringing those in. So, you get a little hit with the Grimghast Reapers going up, but now you get to look at all of this cool stuff in the actual Legion of Nagash list and figure it out.
And I think Morgoth went down.
I believe they did, which I would say was needed because they're pretty garbage. I still don't know if
I don't think they were garbage. I think they were at 220. They can do a lot, but I think at 200 they're probably just about right.
So the other
maybe 180, but it seems pretty cheap.
So a notable change here that I disagree with is Nagash. Big Papa himself has gone up 50 points from 800 to 850. I think that's pretty harsh on the big guy. 800 was a lot of points.
Yeah.
And he was good. He was real good.
I mean...
But 800 points was a lot of points.
But if you're building Nagash at 800 points...
Is the 50
going to matter?
I think it matters if you were playing Nagash with a bunch of Grimghast Reapers and you're now paying 20 extra for every 10
Well, you're not
Reapers.
doing that now.
You're not doing that anymore.
I mean,
exactly.
The thing is, if you're putting Nagash in a list, I think when a model costs over 400 points, you have to plan the spot out for that model.
Sure, but...
And at 800 points, you're saying... I'm going to start my list building. Start of the page. Nagash.
And we're going to build an army that makes use of all of his rules.
I don't think it really matters how much he costs after that. He could go up to 900 points.
So I guess what I'm saying is I don't see the reason for it because I don't think that list that you're starting with Nagash at the top of the page
Had to open that other seltzer there.
that
was a loud one, I know, right?
At least you caught it on mic.
Yeah.
I don't think that list that started with Nagash at the top of the page was a overly powerful list already. So I'm not saying you don't run Nagash at 850, but I'm saying I don't see there was any reason for him to go up.
Yeah, I don't see a reason. I think anywhere between 800 and 900 points, it doesn't matter.
But he's killable. You can murder that guy.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to pay 800 points, you're going to pay 850 points.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think you might see less of Big Papa these days.
Yeah, that would be a shame. I think people are going to shove Big Papa in no matter what. He's great.
Little Papa, Arkan, also went up 20 points.
Yes, he did.
That was needed, because he was Vermin Lord Warpseer level of undercosted at 320.
Yeah.
Only other... what else here really moves the needle? Direwolves, up 10. They're pretty efficient at 60.
They are really efficient. Yeah, 60.
So it seems fine, but I think what you're seeing here in Legions of Nagash is that things you were putting in a really top level competitive list have all taken a little increase. So if you're summing up, I think your most competitive Legion of Nagash list has probably gone up 200 points.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
But I think if you start swapping stuff around, I mean, there's a couple of little gems in here. Blood Knights went down 40 points.
They went down 40?
They went down 40 points.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, Graveguard also.
Nice.
I mean, there's your battle line.
Some Legion of Blood lists in there.
Yeah, 360 for 30 Graveguard.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are nasty. I mean, they're elite infantry nasty. They're nothing super special for elite infantry, but they are elite infantry for not terrible.
Well, so I think the changes here are all really positive then, because you're looking at an army that was probably a little too powerful. You're taking the most powerful build and nerfing it a little.
I think the way the points have moved on this, what you're going to see more is Legions of Nagash being Legions of Nagash, and less borrowing from the other armies. Right. And I think because they've increased the price of the Crypt Gas or Grimghast Reapers. Mm-hmm. That's going to put them out. I mean, 420 for 30 is... I mean...
I think it's where it should be.
Yeah.
But it means you've taken a hit. If you're doubling down on that. If you're trying to do that,
yeah.
If you're doubling that unit, yeah.
I mean, you're
probably just taking one of it now.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, you're not taking two. You're getting you're either grabbing your battle line for 840 points of that, or you're taking, Graveguard for... almost 3 battle line for that same cost.
Sure. And let's be quite clear here. Everything that we're talking about, you can bring back for free through a graveyard. So it's all pretty great.
Yeah, it is all pretty sweet.
All pretty sweet.
All right.
But I think what needed to be happened has happened.
Yeah.
Super powerful stuff.
I'm super looking forward to seeing our death friends play on the table with more imaginative lists.
Yes.
So if you are a Death fan, leave the Gristle Girl list alone. We all know what it does. Not impressing anyone unless
perhaps that's what they need to do.
Unless you really need those wins.
Right. Just put like a 300-point tax on choosing Gristle Girl as your Grand Court. Something like that.
No, what they should do is just your opponent can slug you once.
In the nuts.
No. Just, hold your hands together in the back to get their best chest shot. Great. I'm going to suffer for an hour as I, either work my hardest to outplay you or get just flattened. I mean, talking to people who played the Gristle Girl list when I played in Syracuse after was like, I've never seen so many defeated people walk away off that table.
Well, this is what makes the mess tier, right? The Gristle Girl player can make as many mistakes as they want because the list will correct for all the mistakes.
He played well too, though.
I'm sure he played well. But you can make mistakes with them. And if you're playing any other list against Gristle Girl, you make one mistake, you're just done.
Yep.
You're done. So, yeah. Anyway, Legion of Nagash, bring less ghosts.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. Speaking of ghosts, the Night Haunt.
Yeah, Night Haunt. All ghosts. You are more familiar with this than...
Yeah, so this is my second army, and I was pretty down on them when I first saw these points, just because of the Grimghast Reapers, and I was like, oh man, I've been hit, and it's not even my fault. The Legions of Nagash players are abusing the Grimghast Reapers, and instead of doing what they should have done, which is just say, alright, you can't take Grimghast Reapers anymore, Legion of Nagash, they just moved the points up, which hurts Night Haunt too, and Night Haunt already wasn't doing very well.
But your black coach dropped 20 points.
And I have a unit of 30 Grimghast Reapers that I liked, so I was sad about that. But then when you step back and look at all of these points changes altogether, I think it's pretty nice days for Night Haunt. You've got the black coach went down 20. I think it could still come another 20, to be honest. But you want to put it on the table because it's an amazing model. But some notable things here that got cheaper. Some things that were so good you were definitely taking them at their previous cost have come down even. So notably the what's that little guy that I love? The Dreadblade Harrow.
Yeah.
Was 100 points, come down to 90. That's the little, you make him the general, he can leap across the table, he can pull a unit with him. He's amazing, and he's come down. Reikenor the Grim Halo.
Also went down 10 points.
Went down 10 points. He was my favorite guy. He can get plus
Lady Oleander also went down.
Came down 20.
That makes me happy because that model's
great.
Yeah. Although every time I see it, just the word boobies goes through my head. Because who gives a rack to a ghost?
It's true.
That makes no sense.
Sweet rack on that ghost.
Yeah.
Her,
it would be worse if she was a skeleton.
Yes.
Yeah,
with
but,
some
but
decaying
still.
movies.
No, that'd be a zombie. That would make sense.
Got it.
Yeah.
Her buddy,
Anyway.
Kurdos Valentian, came down too, but that guy is still solid garbage.
Yeah.
So, not interested in that. The Miamons came down a little bit, so you can take... They haven't changed if you were taking them in units of 12, but now you can take them in smaller units with a discount, so that's nice.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool.
Chain gas dropped 10 points. And
Chain gas dropped 10 points.
That's cool.
They're still pretty overcosted at that, unless you manage to just wing them into a unit of 30 witch elves.
Yeah, but
these are the guys who get who get an attack for every model in 2 inches.
Right.
So,
Oh, I know who they are. Yeah. I made that mistake once. I think my opinion on chain gas: if you run 4 of them for 140 points, if you connect with them, you have spent your 140 points so well.
Yeah.
And if you miss with them, it's 140 points.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, it's a mage.
So I think the most exciting thing for me in all these Night Haunt changes is the hex rates coming down to a price point that feels real nice. So at 160 for 10 wounds worth of hex rate, I wasn't biting. But at 140, I think they become a really interesting choice, especially considering that there's a battalion that ramps hex rates up to 11. So now you can fill out a battalion. Actually, that battalion, let me tell you this. There's a battalion that combines the Dreadblade Harrow, 2 units of hex wraiths, and a black coach. Everything in that battalion has come down. That's now a really sweet battalion.
Yeah.
That's the battalion that, the douchey hit twice if they roll a 10 on the charge thing.
Yeah.
They get that if they roll a 9 on the charge, 9 or above.
Okay, that's good.
So that battalion's real exciting to me.
People love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I charge you from 7 inches away, but I happen to roll a 10, so I get to smash into you.
Smash you twice. Now you're doing it
or-
on a 9.
That's not a bad idea for chariots either.
Yeah.
Just on the charge, they attack first.
Yeah.
They attack at the end of the charge phase.
In the charge phase, yeah.
Because, I mean, instead of mortal wounds, which are guaranteed, you get a bunch of crummy attacks.
That's true.
Yeah. It doesn't quite have the impact field hits that
it doesn't
mortal
have
wounds does.
Yeah, and it's also one of these really swingy things that means, really competitive people are still not using them.
Yeah, you're
probably.
still not going to see them on higher end tables.
But I do think you start to see hex rates and all that good stuff.
I think so too.
With this points decrease. So that's what I'm excited about for Night Haunt. When I come back to them after finishing up what I need for Zeech now, that'll be the direction I'm going. Big blocks of hex wraiths, black coach.
Yeah.
Tasty things. So that's death.
Yep. Destruction has had a storied past in AOS.
Weren't they like the hotness of very
AOS
early
1?
AOS
Oh
1.
man. And
Just
we're
like the Thunder
fitting
Tusks
that we are moving right into Beast Claw. Well, Ale Guzzler Gargants, because that's not a mouthful, have their price reduced, but still for a model that dies so fast, I don't think any points reduction is going to help it.
No.
It went down another 10 points. Okay.
Solid garbage.
If you love the model, take one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say.
Is this pretty uniform points drops across the board for Beast Claw? Are you in the old GHB?
Yeah, I am.
Oh.
You're
living in 2018, bro.
And I actually re-referenced the 2017.
We have a whole back catalog.
Okay, so,
anyway, here.
alright, cutting in 3, 2, 1. So Destruction we'll start with Beast Claw Raiders. Looks like they got another big set of point reductions.
Across the board, pretty
Thunder
much.
Tusk Beast Riders went up. No, they went down 20 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's gone down.
Your character, your Frost Lord on his Stonehorn and Thunder Tusk has not gone down.
But the thing is, their brand of cheese is just not stinky enough to be competitive.
No. You could knock everything down another 20 and you're still not tempting anybody. So they have a trick, right? The Beast Claw Raiders. You've got your Thunder Tusks that do 6 mortal wounds from 18 inches away, something like that.
They'll blast
just a straight 6.
And then they're going to get it annihilated.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And you take 2 wounds off them, and that goes down to D6 mortal wounds, and D6 is very, very different from 6. So as soon as anybody knows that, the Beast Claw doesn't stand a chance.
You win against Beast Claw with almost any other army by just in setup phase.
Like, Beast Claw can push all those models forward, do 6 mortal wounds to everything, take off your most important characters, and you'll still just run in and kill them.
Yeah, and then you'll just win.
They just need some better allegiance abilities.
Yep.
They need a way to actually score points.
They need a new book. They need the Noblars to come back. Mm-hmm. They need the dirt cheap battle line.
They need either the Noblars or, in order to keep that low model count theme, my idea would just be let their monsters count as, like, whatever the wounds characteristic is, that many models
something like
within
that,
range of an objective. Because then you get to keep the theme of a few giant monsters, monster mash army, but they can actually score objectives, which they can't right now.
Or just give them Noblars for free. No, you don't change the points. Just you take a Stonehorn Beast Rider, and it comes with 10 Noblars.
Make them feck, in other words. We entirely glossed over that with Flesheater Courts. All of those broken characters we're talking about just come with free built-in rules and stuff in them. All right, make them feck. That seems a great way to balance things. Yeah.
Or if you lose a Beast Rider, they get your Zinch cheese and split into a bunch of Noblars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or so like Stonehorn breaks into 2 of the saber tusks or whatever they're called.
Anyway, enough silliness. Like we have garbage tier. Gonna stay garbage tier.
Garbage tier. Low garbage tier.
Low garbage tier. One of destruction right now. The first 2 we're covering are. Man, in AOS 1, they were terrifying.
Bone Splitters, the Cunning Ruck.
Oh, man. It used to just scare people. Right? Yeah. Oh.
So much shooting.
I haven't seen it in years.
No.
So, Bone Splitters, I have just bricks of Savage Orcs painted. Mm-hmm. They were the first models. After getting into 8th edition, I started to paint, and I love the models.
Well, you get to wait at least 1 more year before putting those back on the table, because they received no changes.
Yep, no changes. I think what they really need is a new book.
Yeah, that's going to be a common theme as we go through Destruction and Order, I would say. A lot of new books needed.
Firebelly, sticking with ogres.
The most powerful faction in Age of Sigmar, the Firebellies. The one unit, the Firebelly, did not change in points because Firebellies were already kicking ass.
Yeah, they were so overpowered. Right. Like, you have one option. Okay, enough jokes aside. Garbage.
Right, not garbage. Well, it's just nothing. It's not
Grainskins. I would love to see them do that into an actual army. Right now, it's not.
I think it's just going to disappear from the game. I don't know why it didn't at this point. They obviously like the more unique parts of their new green skins, like the Iron Jaws and stuff. So green skins, nothing.
Gloomspite, no changes.
New book.
I'm going to keep calling them Night Goblins forever.
But they've got spiders now too.
Yeah, whatever. Still Night Goblins and trolls. Honestly, if you put the trolls in the Bone Splitters, ta-da! You have a really good army. Because the trolls alone are a fun army.
Ally them in to Bone Splitters.
No, they. Just like how Legions and Gash.
Oh, if you did that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've gone over the Gloomspite Gets book a bunch. I think the best tournament list is definitely Shooters.
Or just a shitload of goblins.
That's what I'm saying. The Shooters just.
Or Stabbers.
Yeah, or Stabbers. Just as many goblins as you can put on the table.
Yeah.
Paint them until your fingers fall off, then pick up your fingers that fell off. And soak them in black paint and keep painting those little night goblins.
Put all the buffs on them, back them up by the Skagrot or some bouncy.
All that cool stuff, I think a Squig list is a tier 2 list, but amazingly fun.
Agreed. And a Troll list is a garbage tier list.
I think a Troll list.
An all Troll list is bad.
Is it bad? So you've actually played against one.
Yes, I have played against it. That was bad. I have a friend in Seattle who's also messing around with not all trolls, but a lot of trolls, and he thinks it's pretty bad, but he loves the models. Maybe not garbage
models
tier,
are
but
brilliant.
tier 2.
Low tier 2.
Low 2.
Yeah, I would have put him at tier 2 myself.
Mixed list, just picking all the good stuff, which is mostly goblins. You're looking at a low tier 1.
Yeah, I'd say high tier 2.
I think you can win a tournament with Gloomspite.
I think if you were to pick the best out of all of this and run the goblins.
Run the goblins.
Yeah, you're tier 1 all the way.
Play it well.
Yep. I think you can even you can make a couple mistakes running goblins. You have so many things that can die for so cheap.
One of their main limitations is the allegiance ability. The moon is just kind of random. Skagrok gives you a nice way to kind of control that randomness a little bit. So that's kind of going into what we're saying. Competitive players want reliability. So
Gutbusters, what would make them better is if they had a Firebelly.
Yeah, a Firebelly would help.
Yep. Another one, although honestly, these are pretty unique. Mongolian themed ogres isn't something I've seen anywhere else.
No, it's cool. They're just garbage.
Yeah, they're garbage.
And well, so did you see what GW said about them when they announced the GHB?
No.
They did the little mini blurb about each army, and they were like, Gutbusters don't get any changes. They're as deadly as they've ever been. And that just caused like instant nerd rage across the internet. Like, what? I've never won a game with my Gutbusters.
Oh yeah, they're just as deadly as they've ever been.
They're deadly as they've ever been, which is not at all deadly.
Alright, Ironjaws got a serious drop across the board.
We have a leapfrog here, potentially, from garbage tier.
Ardboys down 20 points, but they lost the bonus for taking 30.
Sure. It's fine.
However, it's still cheaper if you take 30 at the new cost. Brutes down 10 points. Down 10. Brilliant. Gruntas stayed the same.
Yeah, because they were
very
efficient.
Godric and the Mega Boss both down 20 points. Beautiful. I think Ironjaws could pop into tier 1.
Big changes here to the battalions, right? They have come down
the battalions
aggressively.
They've gotten are...
And people were taking usually 2 battalions in Ironjaws because one fits inside the other, and you get a 1-drop list with extra command points, extra artifacts.
And we have to cover what's happened to them afterwards with their new allegiance abilities.
Oh, yeah.
Because that...
But these have had the double whammy of better rules, which we'll go into, and lower points, and that double whammy can be enough to shoot them up the chart.
I wish I hadn't painted my Ironjaws 3 years ago.
Well, you can always buy more Ironjaws.
Honestly, with how their rules look, that might be my future, is just buying another 40 brutes.
They are very, very good now.
Yeah, I think they're going to be great.
One of the few armies that can still do 1-drops, so that's you're going to outdeploy anyone. Choose who goes first.
If you're picking a starter army to get a handle on the rules, I think Ironjaws are a great place to start because they're a simple army to win with initially.
Relatively simple.
There's a lot you can grow into.
Yeah, exactly. Once you start being able to manage all the bobbles and the buffs and the command abilities.
They teach you the game fairly well. They don't do anything in the shooting phase.
No.
Who cares? They're orcs. They shouldn't. Ironjaws are... I think I'm happy to see them come back up. We see them at every tournament. We see multiple Ironjaws lists because people love them.
People love them, and they haven't cared that they were bad before.
Yeah.
So now that they're good, we're going to see them out in droves. I expect.
Yeah, we're going to play round 1 and round 2 against Ironjaws.
Yeah, I've had 5-round tournaments before where I played Ironjaws twice, even when they were bad. Now they're good. We're seeing them. And it's going to be great. There's just going to be more meat charging across the table at you,
and
with better rules.
I'm fine with that.
Oh,
in fact, great. I might join in the green.
You should join in. You should join in.
Yeah. When we start playtesting for Du Bois, I'll have to put together a list to just slam into you. And
there's the old pig list in there is pretty solid. The one where you move 15 inches across the table immediately.
I know. Well, their new rules get you just up the board. They are. I almost feel like I should repaint mine red.
Right.
And just, they are so fast.
Right. The funny thing about Ironjaw's previous is they specialized in getting into combat as soon as possible, and then most people could just beat them in combat.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, great.
But now with all these point reductions, you've
just
got
going to see... more of them, and you've got better rules.
In a classic orc fashion, what makes orcs better? More orcs.
More orcs, for
Love
sure.
it.
Wave after wave of my own men.
Yep.
So that's that.
Order.
Would you say Ironjaw's is the biggest?
I think Ironjaw's.
We can review that at the end, but I think it's got to be the biggest jump we see here.
I think Ironjaw's may be the biggest winner. So I know you don't fuss around with order too much.
Not with all of these mixed order.
So there's an interesting change in Collegiate Arcane that I think is worth going over. The Battle Mage dropping 10 points is not an interesting change. The Celestial Hurricanum got split from a 380 point unit that always had to have a wizard, or a 300 point wizard, non-wizard variant, and a 380 point wizard variant.
Okay, so the same that they did with the Phoenixes when we get to that point.
However...
Okay. Is that good, though? Would you take that?
I could see it either way. If you want to ally in a Celestial Hurricanum for that sweet, sweet order buff, do you know what it does?
+1 to hit.
Hit with a huge radius, yeah. On everything order. So you can literally throw it in anybody, you can take him as an ally.
Even on shooting?
On everything.
And you can take them... Who can take them as allies? Or do you have to have like a mixed order list so you can use it? Because that seems like it'd be really good with like Caradron and stuff.
Oh, there's no way Caradron will do it.
No, but you could build a mixed order army that just combines that with a bunch of shooting.
So order is broken up into hundreds of millions of sub-factions.
Yeah, it just hasn't been addressed in the same way as like Skaven, which pulled everything back together into...
And then at the end they just have like...
Just the allies matrix from hell.
Yeah.
You've got to cross-reference all of these things. Oh god, that is...
So that is the...
Forget it.
Yeah.
It's not important.
They can't take allies, but they can be allied into...
Other, like,
Devoted of
things.
Sigmar.
Sure.
I think just the human type
Human
stuff.
type things. Okay, but maybe...
Stormcast.
Well, Stormcast can take everything.
So, hold on.
Go on.
What do Retributors do?
Retributors, I forget. What are they?
They do 2 mortals on a hit roll of 6.
Uh-huh. But is it an unmodified 6 or just a 6?
We'll have to actually check. I'm going to check the app right now. It used to be a hit roll of 6+.
Mm-hmm. A lot of things used to be a hit roll of 6+, as I know from my good old Skyfires. But many of those things have been nerfed down.
Many of those things have been
natural
changed.
6.
But you know how GW is with
consistency. I know it well. So I'm going to guess that the Retributors went to a natural 6, and therefore this doesn't help. So I'm thinking this is a tool that you use in a mixed order army.
Yeah. Oh, unmodified hit roll. Yeah.
There you go.
Dang. But there's probably some stuff that somebody will find. I mean, honestly, if you're running mixed order and using Glade Guard as your battle line, your Bodkin arrows, that Rend 4, giving him +1 to hit.
Well, that is, like, mixed order is the only, like, grand alliance you really see ever run, and the beauty of it is you just have this deep pool of Infrastone models to combine together. You get shit in terms of actual allegiance abilities to use with them, but you get to make cool combinations of Infrastone
and they take tournaments.
And they do. They do it. So there's a tool. If you just want that for the +1 attack, then I guess you take it without
80 points,
the wizard.
The wizard spell is a D6 spell, though. D6 mortals. I mean, it's good.
But sometimes you just need to squeeze it.
And the Celestial Hurricanum itself can spit out just outrageous amounts of damage in the shooting phase. So, also the laser, the Luminarch of Hysh, same treatment. It's down to 160 points if you're playing... So there's another list in here that I think got a huge buff, and that is Free Peoples.
I know nothing about Free Peoples.
Yeah, I play them all the time.
So then
play
you take
against
this,
them all the time. Yeah, you get a laser.
You take that as a ally in your Free Peoples?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You could. We'll get to that more with the...
when we get there.
Yeah, I think those are the two standouts of this, but I think the Luminarch of Hysh will see more tabletop space than the Celestial Archon. Darkling Covens.
Darkling Covens is one of the ones that I have looked at in detail before, because when I came into Age of Sigmar, I had a bunch of old Dark Elf models.
Oh, don't we all?
So I thought about them a little bit. Blackguard just keep coming down. This is the third GHB in a row where Blackguard have come down.
And they're down to 120. They're good.
And they're really good. They're like so much better than a lot of the newest stuff.
I got all
you see.
excited about Graveguard coming down. Blackguard are better.
Blackguard is so good.
They don't
just
come back,
to review, though. 4 up save.
Yeah.
2 attacks on a 3 up rend 1. Naturally rerolling ones. That's just built in on the war scroll. They're like Brave 8 with a +1 from the banner.
Yeah.
And the all-important stats, the 25 mil base in the 2-inch range, right?
Yeah.
So you can take a big old chunk and they're all hitting.
You can take 320 points buys you. Man, I might have to...
It's almost enough to make Darkling Covens good, because that unit is so good, and they just keep bringing them down. Yeah. Anytime I hear people say that, like, Namati Thralls are good, I'm like, do you see Blackguard?
I know.
They do
Blackguard are the gold standard.
They do way more.
I actually have 30 Blackguard.
And that's sweet. Of the new ones, the plastics?
Yeah, and probably 30 of the metals, because I found a sweet deal for a money bag.
The new plastics are some of my favorite models.
Yeah, they're great.
So Darkling Coven suffers from the fact that it has no good characters, right? It just has the sorceress and the sorceress on dragon.
Yeah, if they would just smush them together with Order Serpentis.
I know! Get a Dreadlord on a dragon in there to beat some face.
Yeah, the sorceress on a black dragon is good. She went down as well, I believe.
This is one that's so confusing. I know we're going to talk a lot about how these small factions should be meshed together, but these Dark Elf ones, visually, they fit together. Yeah, they're all relatively new kits.
Yeah, just slam them together and call them like...
people would love it.
Yeah.
People would buy it.
People would buy up those models. I mean...
And you've got sweet stuff there to work with. You've got these...
I would buy all those models.
Yeah.
I would buy into that army so hard. And I'm not a huge elf fanboy. Orcs are my deal, but... Those the old Dark Elf models are great.
That 30 block of Blackguard at 320 points is so
that is
tasty.
Tempting. I know.
That is going to rip through stuff.
I mean, we can build it. We can try it.
Build it and
we
they
have
will
the stuff
come.
for it. Yeah.
Build it and they will come.
Yeah. They've gone from 430 points in the 2017 all the way down to 320 points 2 years later.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
So, this time next year, we'll be looking at 100-point Blackguard, and everybody in the world will be playing that army.
I mean, they are exceptional at missing some things by accident, so I would not be terribly surprised.
So please, mix with Order Serpentis, and we have an army on our hands here. We've got a real interesting army.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's them.
We gushed for a while on that. Okay, Daughters of
here
Cain.
we are. Here we are, where I rub my hands together at the thought of fighting against a few less witch elves.
Yeah.
From now on.
Well, it's okay.
So take it away. What happened?
So, only 4 changes happened.
But it's impactful. It's
the first one is not that impactful, honestly. Witch Elf's going from 100 points and 270 points for 30. Okay, yeah, it's a 30-point nerf on a brick at 30, but max you're taking 3. That's not... That doesn't hurt.
That's still pretty much a bargain. 120, 300.
Canary Heartrenders going up 10 points. Meh.
Right, it makes sense because they were better than
They are better than Life Takers.
So
Life
they
Takers...
should be a little more.
Man, I wish Life Takers had a little bit better stat line.
Yes.
They
should. I mean, it was dumb for them to be released at the same points cost because Heartrenders were just...
They're the obvious better choice. And going up 10 points, just kind of, okay, cool. I'd never seen somebody take a brick of 20 Life Takers.
For 280?
Because, I mean, your mobility is absurd.
Yeah.
Their ability, if you take them with the one temple where you can retreat and charge.
Mm-hmm.
So, or you take the sorry, it's not temple. It's the
battalion.
Yeah, battalion.
Cauldron Guard? Is it the Cauldron Guard?
I think it may be Slaughter Troop. It's either Slaughter Troop or Cauldron Guard, I think.
Mm.
Where you could, and then you take the temple where you get +1 to your hit roll on the charge. So you charge them, retreat, charge them, retreat.
And you're always getting a +1.
It's just going nuts.
Still, for like the roll of that unit, I think like 5 is almost as good. Well, 5 is not as good as 20, obviously, but the roll you really want to use them for like objective grabbing character sniping.
20 Heartrenders on the battlefield is just a huge mass.
It's a big footprint
because their wings don't fit next to each other.
Right.
They're gorgeous models. I'm not going to say they're not, but man, are they a pain to move around.
Sure.
Because I have had my poor Heartrenders have fallen apart in so many tournaments to where I almost bring super glue just for them. Sure. And a pinning kit.
The Canaries in general, I think, are units you take in a couple of min-sized units, and Heartrenders are still fine at +10 points.
Yeah, you're not noticing that hit. At 90 points, they do allow you to balance out some of the odd combos. The number one odd combo is the Hag Queen went up 30 points to 90 points.
Suck it.
That is the one that hurts.
Well, come on. People have been calling for it for so long. She was the most efficiently costed model in the game at 60 points.
All she did was make your other models better.
Yeah, for 60 points.
Yeah. And like, she only gave them immune to battle shock and reroll all failed wounds.
Right.
It's not that big of a
So now you take you're taking one of the most destructive, durable units in the game and made it impossible to kill any through battle shock.
Yep. I don't see a problem there. If she was 80 points, I think she'd be exactly perfect. I think 90 is just 10 points too hard because it messes... Like I said before, I spent forever working on lists for Daughters of Cain, and what I settled on is extremely different than what I was playing, and it's because I was consistently ending up with 2,010 point lists, and it's all because the Hag Queens just cost 10 points too much.
I think... You have more experience there.
I'm not saying
fine for
it's because I could get everything I had before, and it was just 10 points more. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is the concessions I had to make always ended up being like 10 points too much.
Right.
And it's just that Hag Queen, 80 points I think is great. She
80 points
she can't fight
fine.
good. She can take pre-spells, but all they do is buff. I think for a buff hero... Yeah.
But it's very good buffs.
They're very good buffs. But 80 points, I mean...
Well, I think you're just feeling it because of the double whammy of the unit you're generally buffing has gone up, the Witch Elves, and she's gone up, so the combo is way up.
Right.
The combo of 30 Witch Elves being buffed by her has gone up 60 points.
Yeah.
So
and
that's pretty significant.
The other change is that typically in writing a Daughters of Cain list, I never had to factor in the Hag Queens, because you just end up with like 120 points left over after you got everything you wanted. You're like, oh look, 2 Hag Queens, that makes it list perfect.
Do you see the problem here? You get everything you want and you have 120 points
the
left
problem
over.
with Daughters of Cain is you could build any list you wanted, it would be good, and you didn't have to stress about what things cost. So now there's a lot more stress about what things cost.
Welcome to the real world, buddy.
Yeah.
Been playing on easy mode.
I know. I'm still not unconvinced I can't wiggle Marathian back into a list. Marathi was not necessarily the tier 1 list for this.
Oh, it was still tier 1. It was maybe not the super...
It wasn't the S
class,
tier
list.
Yeah, it was
Marathi, you could build a tier 1 list with Marathi for sure.
Yeah.
Basically, unless you were going out of your way to take bad units previously,
there's
you were a tier 1 list.
Daughters of Cain don't have much of a bad unit.
Exactly, but unless you're going out of your way to really be as bad as possible, you were building a tier 1 list with Daughters of Cain.
Yeah, I honestly, looking at what's here, I can't picture making... If you have... Okay, I did see on the internet somebody built like an all avatars of Cain list. Like the standing avatars of Cain. And they were all gung-ho about it. And it's like, dude, that's...
They probably achieved the tier 2 list and...
Yeah, I mean, you're really stretching for that ridiculous... Get a bunch of power behemoths going that don't have a very high wound count. But yeah, I think that's Daughters of Cain. That's how they ended up.
Well, no, you've got your other changes, the Bloodstalkers.
Bloodstalkers went down 20 points, which is
Snakes
great.
down 20.
So
bring them in line with the Blood Sisters, but they're still not as good. Would you agree? Oh, that's a very different role, I guess.
Yeah, I think their role is extremely different. I think at 160 points they were absurdly overcosted. Actually, no, because so here's the weird thing. If you math out the Bloodstalkers versus the Stormcast long strike crossbows, the math is almost equivalent, and they were both at 160 points. But when you factor in were the long strikes at 180 points? Anyway, they were essentially like, I think the long strikes were originally at 180 points. I have to look that up. I remember I ran a bunch of Excel on them. That math degree coming in so handy.
He ran some Excel, people. Don't worry.
Well, it's figuring out how all
everything we say here is backed up by hard stats.
Yeah, but I'm the one who's doing it, so it's probably all wrong anyway.
All right, I'll take over the math for a minute.
180 points. Yeah, so it was, if you divided out the damage by points, they ended up being about the same as the Stormstrike crossbows.
Okay.
Because they cost a bit less. However, I did not factor in the fact that you get reroll everything as Daughters of Cain. So now that they're down 20 points, I think they might nudge into not bad.
So the Temple Nest Battalion, does that require some of both?
It does require 2 Blood Sister units and 2 Bloodstalker units.
2 of both?
2 of each.
Got it. Okay.
And a Bloodrack Medusa.
So you've made that whole battalion is coming down in points. For sure.
Right, that battalion is down 40 points, which is
and that was
nothing
always
to
that
sneeze
was
at.
a cool build that you didn't see much because the other stuff was just better. So perhaps they've achieved some internal balance there.
Yeah.
Making that build more tempting.
Talking to my brother, first thing I complained about was it, and he just looked at me and said, "Oh no, you're going to have to run snakes now." And that was before I started crunching lists. And I ended up on a very snake-heavy list, and I was like, man, you can't be right. You're my little brother. It's not fair.
Oh, so he figured out that this all points towards snake list. And
I don't think he figured it out. I think he just
guessed.
got lucky. Yeah.
You crunch numbers and all arrows point into snakes. Is
Yeah.
That what we're
He
saying
guessed on it, and it looks like snakes seem to be going forward. That would be not a bad Daughters of Cain thing. Although there is still very much you can go ahead and build your 3 bricks of Witch Elves, plenty of support for it. You just don't get to do...
You don't get all the toys anymore.
You don't get all the toys.
Right.
So, what I would say the common in tournament build at the end of Age of Sigmar 2 for Daughters of Cain was 90 Witch Elves, Cauldron to support, and a lot of priests running around, and Slaughter Queen on the Cauldron instead of the Hag, because you would get them to do that just crazy command ability where you attack in the command phase. Just gross.
Cool.
That list still can exist. You just don't get to take it as part of a battalion that brings you most of the stuff in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sky has not
That's
fallen here, but you can
yeah.
still run 90 Witch Elves if that is your cup of tea.
You're just going to have to deploy better.
Right, maybe you don't get that extra unit of Heart Renders or something. No?
Well, yeah, you're not getting the... so that took the... not the Shadow Troop, but the one that ran Witch Elves in it.
Yeah.
So you had to take some Canara in it.
Yeah.
Which, okay, there's your tax.
Sure.
But they're great at objective holding. And yeah, you can't really squeeze all that together and have any other stuff for fun. You know, you're not getting your two fire warlocks and on that list.
So let's be clear. Daughters still solid tier 1.
Yeah, I think they're knocked out.
You just don't get all your little bonus units.
I think they're knocked out of
anymore.
S and they're just tier 1.
They're just tier 1. It's great.
Which is good.
It's great. We should get them on the table.
Yep.
I'm going to smash them.
Yeah, sure. Witch Hunter went down 20 points.
What is... Oh, Devoted of Sigmar.
Devoted of Sigmar. Again, I don't know why these got split off from the Free Peoples.
Is the Free Peoples like the old codpiece kind of empire people?
Yeah.
All of those old, like, frilly clothes people?
Yeah, it's a good old Landsknecht style
Mm-hmm.
dudes running around.
Got it. Okay, and then the religious fanatics got broken.
The religious
I haven't played
fanatics
against
and all their
either of
guns
these.
went into different lists except for the handgunners, which are in their own thing. Alright, and cut! I gotta put the doggy downstairs because she's too noisy. Cat, being a bitch. Dylan? No, this way. Polly. No, Polly.
Get out of there, buddy.
Come on, Polly. Polly.
Downstairs, buddy.
Polly.
Do what you're told. Go on, do
Come
what
on,
you're
Polly. I don't wanna. I'm too big to move.
told. You can't move me.
Come on, fat boy. Cassie, Polly, come on. Let's get some treats. Come on, let's go get some treats. Come on, Polly. Come on, let's get you some treats. Let's get some treats. Come on, Polly.
The small snacks.
Polly. Come here. Baby carrots. Buddy,
Hey, buddy.
you're not the problem dog.
What are you?
He just wants to hang out. Come on.
Later, buddy.
You're not the problem dog. Oh, come on. But if you're up here and she's down there, she's really in the street. Polly. And we have to open the... It's getting too hot in here.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, you ready?
Let's do it.
Cutting in 3, 2, 1. Dispossessed. Man. I still think there is something in Dispossessed that people aren't seeing. Small list of stuff. But I think you can make it work.
What are we not seeing?
You get a strong gun line.
I actually think they're fun. I mean, it's one-dimensional. You've got a lot of slow infantry who are just kind of marching their way across the table. But you've got some good units in there.
Yeah.
The warriors have come up 10. That's a blow if you took a lot of warriors.
Yeah.
I think Longbeards were always better.
Yep.
Point for point anyway, and they've stayed the same. And all of your kind of more punchy units, the hammerers, for instance, have come down.
Yeah. I think for the most part they're going to be the same as ogres.
Sure. Hey, if you were running Dispossessed before and having fun, then you're still going to have fun.
Yeah. Enjoy your dwarves.
And you get a few more dwarfs on the table.
Yeah.
Good
I think
news.
they did take, in Sigmar 2, they did take a tournament in England.
Yeah, I think I saw.
Yeah, everyone was scratching their heads on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, if played well.
Yeah, Elders Council, oddly not garbage, but tier 2.
Swordmasters came down. They are on the same trajectory as Blackguard, actually, but are just... Actually, model to model, they're as good as Blackguard,
Yep.
but they've always just been 20 more, so less good.
Yep.
But they're coming down every year, just like Blackguard, so keep
Yeah.
them coming and there'll be a list there.
Yeah, I mean, Oh, it wasn't Eldritch Council, it was the Drakesworn. Well, the ones that you could take all the dragons.
Oh,
that you've seen
Order
here, too.
Draconis.
Yeah, Order Draconis.
The Law Master's always a good model that you will take into a mixed order list, because the spell is amazing. Okay.
So, free peoples.
Card pieces.
Yep. Greatsword's down, right?
No idea. I've never seen these on the table.
Yeah, Greatswords went down 20 points. Greatswords are... Actually, they're probably good right there. Compared to your Blackguard.
Are they the same, though? They can't be as good as Blackguard.
No.
There's no way.
Almost the same, but they are 4s and 3s.
And probably 1-inch range as well, because swords are usually 1-inch range. Although they are great swords.
I think they might be 2-inch range.
Okay.
Let's look them up.
The combination of weapon range and base size is the key stat that everybody always misses.
So we should...
defines whether these infantry units are good or bad. Because a 2-inch range with a 25mm base
they are 1
is
inch.
the sweet spot. So
4 to hit, 3 to wound. Rend 1, damage 1.
Save 4.
Save is a 4.
So they're like Blackguard Light.
Yep. Standalone, but they are in Free Guild. Can you shut the window? As the neighbor's dog is getting picked up by the mic.
Dogs from everywhere.
I know. My dogs are sitting on the couch now and much happier. You won't hear them whining. I think Free Guild are... I think they were at the really close to the top of Tier 2. I think they're going to scoot in by a good player. They only have one list.
What is the list? Just a lot of guns?
It is... Yeah, you've never played...
I guess they organize into these companies, right?
Right, so what you do is you spread out your Free Guild guard with sword and shield to make a line. And then part of that, so you have 2 groups of these Free Guild guard. And then your companies include usually only 1 of great swords, but I could see running 2. And the rest of it's the crossbow and handgunners and people to give them buffs, like the general and anything else. You can run Outriders, Pistoliers now as the new Regiments of Renown or whatever they're called. Mercenary companies, yeah. So you can get those deployed anywhere for the cost of 1 command point, which is probably worth it.
Sure.
Also, they went down a lot.
But the Free Guild General on Griffin went up, right? And everybody loves that guy. I don't know anything about Free People, but I know people love that guy.
Yeah, he's... the Free Guild General on Griffin was undercosted where he was. Going up at 280, he's probably just about right.
Okay.
Because he is your key piece to remove other scary things that are not, Marathi tier. But he can toe-to-toe against most things. His
just
points...
some dude on a dragon or...
Yeah, no. He can toe-to-toe with somebody riding a dragon sort of thing, yeah. Demigryph Knights dropped a bit. We might see them. They are the Hog Riders. Almost stat for stat.
Okay. Okay, so that kind of mobile anvil style.
They are absolute mobile anvils. So anyway, playing Free Guard, you just have this massive gun line protected by this thin line of swordmen with shields. If you charge the swordman, the entire gun line fires into you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't charge people anyway.
Yeah, I mean, for Tzeentch, not a big deal, but I've seen him just... Yeah, I've started a charge with 30 Witch Elves and ended up with 7.
Oh, yeah, your brother plays these.
My brother plays them, so I play against them.
Alright, so fans of card pieces, it's all looking up in the world?
I think, and their new rules makes them just that much better. I think they might slip into the very bottom of Tier 1. If not there, I think they're going to be the top of Tier 2.
So enjoy it for maybe one more year before getting squatted?
I don't know how many people play this army, so...
Well, people who have the models from Fantasy, right? This is a bunch of these armies. Yeah. People who just have a Fantasy
I would love to see Free Peoples get a proper treatment. There needs to be a human faction.
For sure, yeah, but over
any army I play,
Yeah, different soldiers from each
Yeah.
realm, like realm theme, or like city themed, free cities. For sure, because right now apparently the free cities are populated by a bunch of like Germanic codpiece wearers from Warhammer Fantasy, and then like crazy futuristic Stormcast Eternals.
Yeah, plus whatever realm they're on gets a splash.
Like please make this all a little more consistent.
Fire Slayers, you just got a new book, you're doing great.
You've got the unkillable Hearthguard Berserker Death Star unit.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're going to see any changes in the new PDF because they were that recent.
And I don't think they're... I think they're very solid tier 1, but I don't think they're S.
No, because at the end of the day, they have amazing units, but they're still dwarfs who have to walk across the table towards you. They can do some tunneling and stuff, but they're not like that flying model that can run and charge and do all of that. So, yeah, enjoy Fire Slayers players. You've got a great army, you're probably not getting touched. And
have fun painting a bunch of dork butts. So my other brother decided to start Fire Slayers, and he's converting Fire Slayer heads and hands onto dwarf bodies, dispossessed bodies.
So they at least have some pants on.
Yeah.
Full clothes, in fact, because I'm not a huge Fire Slayer. Like, fluff-wise, rule-wise, seems fine, but the aesthetic does not do it for me.
Yeah.
They look dumb.
Yeah. I mean... Something about Savage Orcs being naked makes sense, but Savage Dwarves...
Yeah.
It's the pink versus the green.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's the dumb little diapers they gave them. If they were naked upper body, but with some, like, Asterix Obelix style pants on,
I would
would
be
look
all
great.
over it.
Just put some bloody pants on. Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's not too much to ask.
Man, that's a lot of green stuff work for a Horde army, too.
That would be too much, but they missed a trick. Pants.
Yeah. Man, like, they'd look great if they had, like, if they all looked like Obelix.
Exactly.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
Just like a little Obelix, but Asterix
stripy
size.
pants.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Ironweld Arsenal, man.
It's not a real thing.
Yeah, what a mess.
Gives you some guns for a mixed order army. And there's a mercenary company now, right? Where you take 3
Steam
cannons.
Tank went down.
The Stank.
Man, the days where the double Steam Tank list
Double
used to
Stank
just...
from 8th edition.
The worst players brought 2 Steam Tanks in 8th edition.
And now the fluffiest players do.
And now the people who...
have no intent of winning.
I remember I'd play warm-up games against players who were assembling Steam Tanks out of Lego because they just wanted that second Steam Tank so bad.
Table as soon as possible.
Yeah, they'd have Lego with some plastic car with some glued-on Empire bits, and I'm just kind of like...
But so the Ironweld Arsenal pisses me off of all of the things that were broken up when AOS first happened, because this is... They didn't even break things up in a fluffy kind of way here. They took dwarf guns and human guns and just put them all together into a gun army.
Yeah, and the worst part is...
Like, what is this?
The dwarf cannon is the only cannon you can take.
Right.
I mean, you can take a Empire cannon and be like, and the crew are just stretched dwarves.
Right.
Yeah. They're from the realm of High-ish, so they're taller dwarves.
Because Dispossessed would be cool if they had their gyrocopters and cannons, and the Free Peoples would be cooler if they had their stank.
Yeah.
So, what are we doing here?
And the cannon, Hellblaster, and Hellstorm. I mean, give it to them. Who cares?
I don't know, it's deep, Ken.
Yeah, bunch of changes.
A bunch of changes, and I am a fan of these changes because they moved... Well, they maybe didn't go far enough in some cases, but they went the right direction with everything. I think they moved the bad stuff down a little, the good stuff up a little. So I think they've managed to do it in a way that's not going to change the overall power of the army, but makes you see more variety. Yeah. And that's the best way to make changes.
That's absolutely the best way to make changes. I completely agree.
So the Morsar Guard, which were the unit that was being spammed constantly, has gone up 10 points. Seems small and incremental, but people were literally...
30 points.
No, they've gone up 10. The Morsar, they were 160.
From the previous General's Handbook.
Yeah.
They're 140.
Yeah, this was actually a misprint. That's something that was
right.
corrected like the very next week. They have always been 160.
Yep.
They've gone up 10. Seems small, but in fact people were running 2 units of 12 of these. Yeah. So you're looking at like an 80-point increase, which
Yeah.
is significant for that particular build.
Right.
So that's great. It means you're going to have to see a few less of them on the table, and you're tempting people to now instead take maybe a few more thralls.
Or I don't know, a
which will come down
Leviathan that went down 90 points.
No, only 30. Again, misprint in this.
Jeez.
This has been 380, now 350.
Okay, well, 30 points is still pretty good. I'm just not going to talk about it Donut anymore.
Yeah, they made a bunch of misprints in
Yeah.
the 2018 handbook, which came out just after the army
Right.
book for Deepkin,
Yeah.
right? And then they changed it back. So Leviathan's actually come down 30. I think it's still not tempting.
But the model is.
Oh, yeah. But the Achillean Alopex, aka the Shark, down 20, possibly enough to make it kind of tasty. It's still
Yeah.
in that unfortunate chariot kind of position, in that it's a model that's too big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Model is too big to take big units of them to actually hold points, but is not, a powerful enough model to do a whole lot of damage on its own. But you're more or less nudging it towards a better position now with the 120.
Just keep talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'm going to grab the dog.
So yeah,
Fireworks
Alopex
now.
came down from 140 to 120. That's what I'm talking about here. So you can take them in units of up to 4. That unit has come down 80 points, and even if it's not enough to make them cutting edge competitive, let's see them on the table, people, because sharks
Try to keep
are
her away
damn
from the
cool.
computer.
Sharks are cooler than eels, so let's get units of sharks on the table.
Yeah,
Now
absolutely.
they come down 20 points.
So the dogs have to join us at this point because
We have
it
2
is...
new co-hosts.
Yep.
They're going to contribute a lot.
Well, they've been contributing a lot to the background noise.
Sure, now they're here.
There
In
is
person.
this is the 3rd of July, and
Ah,
everybody's firing off fireworks. So
Okay.
I have 2
We
very
all know that dogs love fireworks.
well. She doesn't care, but he
freaks
is
out.
a little nervous right now.
Yeah, a little shell shocked.
Yeah. So usually they're pretty good, fairly quiet while we record.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
So, other changes in the Deepkin, both of the thralls down 10 points. I still don't like them very much because of the comparison to Blackguard, mostly.
Yep.
These are models on 32mm bases with 1-inch reach, and even though each individual model is quite choppy, you're just not getting enough into combat. So,
Yeah.
Lotan, the Warden of the Soul Ledges, aka one of the worst models in all of the game. Well, physically, one of the most beautiful models in the game,
Yes.
with his octopus, but on the battlefield, one of the least impressive characters in all of Age of Sigmar, has come down 20 points and will still never see the table.
yep, he is the Castle and Crow of the Adonith.
Yes. 40k reference.
So, Caradron,
Oh, Caradron. I have a good friend in Seattle who plays Caradron, and he's excited.
good,
So
good.
that makes me excited.
I have
because-
missed...
Yeah.
I have missed the
That's such a
Skywars
cool
for 2
army,
years.
right?
They came out gorgeous. Awesome, totally
Gorgeous
different
army
models.
had like a moment of greatness in AOS 1 where they were flying down in their clown car and
Yeah.
piling out and blowing people off the table,
And just...
and then people just
Ah.
figured out how to beat
The-
that, and the points went up. And
No, it was. I think they got complained into a nerf.
Oh, they got a few nerfs on like how the
Yeah.
actual deep striking worked and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think they got limited to that ridiculous clown car list where you would just stack all the what are they called? The
end
Sky Wardens.
Yeah, well, you can fill the clown car full of the shooty guys, the
Yeah.
lumber guys, and then all the wardens or Endrin riggers can hang on the edge.
Yeah.
So you can bring in basically your whole army and pile it out
Yeah.
of this boat,
But they are.
and then try and double turn someone, and that was the gambit.
I mean, I would love for them to be. I'm glad to see them get buffs because, gosh, they need it.
They have sweeping reductions across the board,
Yeah.
pretty much. So
There's not even worth talking about individual models because they are all essentially reduced.
right. Especially the boats is the big thing
Yeah.
to notice there, because for an army that, like, fluff-wise flies around in boats and has models that are amazing, awesome boats, you saw very few boats on the table.
Yep.
Because you could pack your whole army into one of them, and the others were just kind of useless and not worth bringing. So now let's see some more boats on the table. I know at least this one Caradon player I know is excited and thinks they'll see more play. So
yeah, for sure.
Stuff.
All right, Lion Rangers.
That's not a real army.
Not a real army. Order Draconis. They have placed in tournaments.
They have placed in tournaments because that Dragon Lord host, the battalion they have, gives them some crazy rules.
And
they
there's
can take
one
really
guy
cheap
in
dragons.
England who's good playing it.
Yeah, right.
And
so,
he's
like,
the
their
same
stats
dude.
Yeah.
Shows up in every stat sheet. As
Exactly. So I think
placing
that win rate was like 70% or something.
Yeah, but it's one guy who's really good and just smashing other,
So their Dragon Lord has gone up,
Yeah.
but their Dragon Blades have come down. That's the ye olde Dragon Princes of Calador, if you're a fan of Ulthuan in the old world.
Oh, you mean the Blood Knights?
What people use as Blood Knights,
Yeah,
basically.
which I think is... The Blood Knight models are awesome.
But they're $100.
I would see, again, I would... I would buy them.
Well, the best Blood Knights I ever saw was that guy at the Beef and Wing last year who made them out of the Vanguard. And they look baller.
No, yeah, then you're combining... Actually, the best Blood Knights I've seen were the wolves from Space Wolves.
Oh, the Thunder Wolf, whatever it is.
Yeah, Thunder Wolf Cav. With the Black Knight bodies with Dark Elf Executioner heads.
Oh.
I mean, putting that together, I think it ended up being $240 for a unit of 3.
Good.
But, I mean, if
Economical. If you're going to do it, go all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this Vanguard conversion because it'd taken a unit that everybody complains about being expensive, like $100 for 5, and found a way to make them even more expensive by making them $100 for 3.
I remember playing 8th edition and somebody brought legit Blood Knight units and everybody gathered around. They're like,
oh my god.
Oh my god.
This guy spent a mortgage payment on his unit of Blood Knights.
Again, though, like, they are that pretty.
Yeah, they're great. Anyway, that's the Dragon Blades, who are actually Dragon Princes of Calador. So if you took this army and you were running a balance of Dragon Lords and Dragon Blades, it probably stayed about the same, because one went up and one went down.
Right.
Anyway.
Order Serpentis, War Hydra went down 10 points. I love that unit.
I love the Hydra.
I love everything it does.
So beautiful.
I love the model. I love it on the table.
I love its derpy little sock puppet snake heads.
Yeah.
I actually think it's a beautiful model.
Yeah.
I have one at home.
I have 2.
Yeah.
Or do I have 3?
Put them in your list. That's what Daughters of Cain need. More War Hydra.
You don't...
More War Hydra.
I don't think you need War Hydras.
No, you definitely don't.
But they are... So War Hydra is an interesting unit because it's a monster, but it needs a friend. You can't send a War Hydra in by itself because it'll get nuked. But the other thing is you could use a War Hydra at right now 170 points. You could ally them in for 340 points, and you have 2 distraction Carnifexes.
And they shoot and they heal, right?
Oh yeah, they do. They shoot, they heal, they do good attacks in both shooting, although not long range, but.
Right.
You're doing something in the shooting phase with them.
Yeah, just like monsters have gone to that point now where you tend to prefer to pay more for a monster that just deletes units rather than less for a monster that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, if they hit 160 points, that is...
What if you could take them in units of 3? Would that tempt you?
Yes!
With a
that
discount?
would do it, yeah.
That would do it.
Hey, if I could take them in units, if I could even take them in units of 2 or 3, yeah. Give the War Hydra the Chariot treatment, and I'd be all over it. That's, sure.
Speaking of which, Drakespawn Chariots got the Chariot treatment.
Yeah,
Still
nobody
garbage.
cares.
Nobody cares about
Drakespawn Knights, nobody cares.
Do it to Hydras.
If you play these, man, you are awesome. Keep doing you, but they are not competitive.
They just bring the Hydra. The Hydras should be separated out into their own faction. Order Hydronus.
Yeah.
And it's just Hydras.
Order Hydronus, and they should be mercenaries.
There's a hero Hydra.
It's just a poor elf with an extra head.
Yeah.
It's not a functional head. He's just carrying around like a dead head.
Mm-hmm. Give them the Firebellies treatment. That's my hot pick.
Make them mercenaries. I'd be cool with that.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Phoenix Temple is legitimately a tier 2.
Yeah, that's a list that legitimately more than one person takes to tournaments and does okay.
Frostguard are great. The Frostheart Phoenix with Anointed.
Well, so that's changed big time.
Went up 40 points.
With Anointed went up 40 points, but now you can take it without.
You're taking it with the Anointed.
And you're always taking it with the Anointed because that's what gives it the 4-up.
Yeah. I mean...
Busted save.
Yeah. Yeah. So what makes this army strong for anybody who really likes the Phoenix Guard models? Go nuts. It's not a bad army.
For anyone who's been watching trends, these have gone exactly opposite of Blackguard over the years. Exactly 40-point increase every time there's a GHB.
Yeah.
The Frostheart with Anointed.
But
it started at 240, which was the most busted thing in the game.
Yeah.
You used to run one.
Oh, yeah. Mixed order list, you can still sneak in your little combo of Frostheart with Anointed and a Phoenix Guard 30 man, and you have one heck of an anvil.
Right. Compared to 2 years ago, they were up 80 points, so obviously people have still been using it.
Yep.
But Phoenix Temple really rests on the back of the Phoenix Guard, right? Who have stayed about the same. And
Absolutely.
Are still really,
Haven't
really
changed. Yep.
Have that golden 2-inch range and 25 mil base. They're not as punchy as the Blackguard, but they've got that
save.
Sweet 4-up save, right?
Yeah, 4-up feel no pain style save.
Yeah.
So good. Flamespire could drop 40 points and then people would look at it.
Yeah. But so this has gone down overall then, right? The Phoenix Temple. Because the only major change is the Frostheart with Anointed has gone up.
Yeah, I find it odd that the Flamespire is still costlier than the Frostheart.
Yeah, because they're pricing they're trying to price in the fact you might get a free one on that dice roll when it dies and potentially comes back. Which is dumb because it's super unreliable. Nobody's going to pay extra points for unreliable maybe comes back. And there's things like the Hell Pit Abomination that can just come back for free, and they didn't bump its cost up because of that. Anyway, Phoenix Temple, you got nerfed. Phoenix Temple, Privateers, you got a buff. You're awesome.
Yeah,
keep going strong.
Yeah, just if you only had better units.
Somebody went 3-3 at a big tournament in Australia with the Scourge Privateers, even before this buff. No, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but this Realm Reavers battalion does something really janky, apparently. You should look... It's something like you can wrap around an enemy unit and then move it somewhere, but if you can't place it where you want to move it, it just automatically dies. So there's a way to wrap your units around people and have it so that you just automatically kill them with this Realm Reavers battalion. I don't know exactly how it works. It sounds janky, but you can now do it for cheaper because the Black Ark Corsairs have come down. Scourge Runner Chariots have come down. Charybdis, I believe, down. Are we getting the inside scoop on what this Realm Reaver battalion does?
Ability is Feared Taskmaster Master. The warriors of a Realm Reaver's force fear the wrath of their fleet master more than any enemy.
Of course, that guy's got a sword leg.
Yeah, without hesitation. Right. Whenever he looms nearby,
he might just drop kick you in the face with that sword leg.
You can bark orders to another unit from this battalion that is within 8 inches. So you can give out your Black Ark Fleet Master orders to 2 units. When he does so, the unit can immediately do one of the following things. Move as if it were the movement phase. It cannot run. Shoot as if it were the shooting phase. Charge if it were the charge phase. Or if the enemy unit's within 3 inches, pile an attack. Pretty good.
Is that it?
Yep.
Huh. Well, I don't know what this thing I'm thinking of is then that you get to wrap around people.
And you can reroll wounds of 1 whenever a model with Realm Reaver's battalion targets a monster. I mean, it gets the ability to essentially copy the Slaughter Queen's
Sure.
I think for free.
And shooting as if it's the shooting phase is a big deal because you're taking blocks of 40 Corsairs all with their little hand bows. So when they get close, you can just blast people with that.
I mean, yeah, you can take...
You can get 40 Corsairs for 240 points. That is massive. That's 6 points a model.
Yeah.
And those are not bad models.
They're not great. But
no, they're not great, bad. But for 6 points a model,
they're kind of goblin-y.
Yeah, I mean, you've got an army that is like five different entries, 4 different entries, and no variety and not many different tactics to work with, but you get cheap stuff, so that's cool.
Yeah.
If you want to pay it up 160 Corsairs.
They are awesome models.
They are awesome models with the cloaks.
Yeah, those cloaks with the kind of different, like, modeled lizard and, aquatic kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, we've talked about Scourge Privateers.
Tier 2. Still Tier 2. You think garbage tier?
No, but...
Borderline garbage.
You gotta be nuts to run them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, you are a unique and special person if you're still running Scourge Privateers.
Unless you're this one guy in Australia, you're gonna get smashed.
Yeah.
That's the lowdown on Scourge Privateers.
Yeah.
You're getting smashed.
Seraphon, a fan favorite.
Love them.
Love them. They took... Adepticon.
And I've played against them quite a bit recently. And I was... Even before this change, I was coming to think that the Thunderquake Starhost was a Tier 1 army. Pretty solidly Tier 1. Have you ever played against the Thunderquake? You take 2 Bastiladons who are like re-rolling their saves, re-rolling their shooting, healing.
I play Daughters of Cain.
Yeah.
They
but
do
these
horrifying things to lizards.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
Like what?
The last time I played lizards, I ran up the board because I took the first turn, and they ran into me with like a brick of 30 Saurus Warriors, which...
Okay, well, Saurus
or 40
Warriors
Saurus Warriors.
Absolute garbage.
Which disappeared.
So, right.
Yeah, I think they killed 3 witches.
Yeah, they're terrible, but that's
and
not
then
my
I
point.
went and killed the entire army they had.
My point is if you play the
my turn
Thunderquake
too.
well, which is having a base of shooting, which is the Razordons and the Bastiladons, and you just summon wall after wall of skinks in front of those to chaff up opponents, that's a really solid army, in my opinion. But you've got to play it right. You're not trying to fight anyone. You're trying to skink them up, and you're trying to blast them off the table.
No, I think the best way to play Seraphon is to play the objective game.
Yes, exactly.
That's how you win.
Yep. You're bringing your slan. You're just trying to summon 2 units of skinks a turn. You're just running onto objectives and doing skinky things.
So some of the point changes, a lot changed. It looks like tweak changes.
Well, I think that
Croak went down 20 points. Razordons and Salamanders, interesting point changes. Instead of being 40 points for 1, they're 50 points for 1, but you can take a max unit size of 3, which is down from 4, but then they're 40 points again. Mm-hmm. So if you take the full max unit size.
Yeah, you haven't lost any points, but you have less models in your unit, which is significant for things like buffs from battalions.
Saurus Warriors went down.
Still garbage.
There's a battalion that buffs them.
I think Saurus. They're just that old style of play where you just have big units of reasonably good models.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't work anymore, I think. You need a big unit of absolute murder faces, or you need chaff and shoot.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Carnosaur went down, how much?
I don't know.
20.
I didn't give him a close look.
Sora's Old Blood on Carnosaur went down 20 points. He could go down another 20 points.
Yeah, keep them coming.
Yeah.
The big change is Skinks went up 10.
Yeah.
Skinks were really, really, really good at 60 points, and I think they're still pretty good at 70.
Yep.
Actually, still really good at 70. So you're still bringing.
If you're looking at starting Seraphon, I think the list, I think you'll agree, is some of the big monsters.
Mm-hmm. Engine of the Gods is
you're running
super
skinks.
solid. You're running
Skinks are your battle line.
Yeah, if you want a big, if you do want to get stuck in and have a big fighty unit, you're looking at Ripidactyls, super fast, super punchy. You've got those Bastiladons are kind of your artillery pieces, and you have a very powerful summoning mechanic, which is your Slan just gets to not do spells and summon stuff instead.
I think the problem is that the start collecting is the opposite.
Right, it is. It's
how you want to run it.
Yeah.
Stormcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously the goal here was internal rebalancing of the Stormcast, because everything that was new had been the best stuff, and everybody knew it, and people only ran the new stuff. By the new stuff, I mean Sacrosanct.
Yep.
Chamber, right? Your Sequitors, your do you say evocators or evocators? What is the pronunciation here? Semantics are quite...
Now that you've said them both ways, it's like,
Evocateur,
yeah.
evocateurs.
Yeah.
Like a provocateur.
Now I can't think. It's like, is it Caribbean or Caribbean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Evocators.
I think evocators.
Mm-hmm.
Because evocateurs is not...
Well, it's evocative, right? So it's evocator.
But it's evoke.
It's evoke.
Yeah.
Evocators.
Yeah, because what a weird... Some of the names
are really quite... Yeah. I remember when Stormcast first came out, the prosecutors, there were people online calling them prosecutors. And I was like, what are you saying? That is just a regular English language
my problem
word,
with it is I want to change the end to taters.
Prosecutators?
Yeah. No, for all of it.
Evocatators?
Yeah. Protectatators, retributators.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just... Man.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is get a ball of green stuff and shove some Stormcast legs on it, and boom.
Right.
You've got your tater cast.
But just to review for people, at the beginning of AOS 2...
Okay, so...
Sequitors came out who were better Liberators. Evocators came out who were better Paladins. The shooty things, the Ballistas came out, which were better than taking Judicators. Yep. And just all of the Sacrosanct stuff was better than everything else. So that's what you saw for the last year.
Yeah. I think they've just had an internal point rebalancing to kind of even the line out.
The arguments I've seen is that to do that, the old stuff should have come down rather than the new stuff going up, because what they've really done is make the whole faction a little less competitive. I can see that argument to some degree. Stormcast were generally not overrunning tournaments and beating face.
Yeah, no, I think once they got the that one list removed, they became pretty reasonable.
The Vanguard Wing?
The Vanguard Wing,
yeah. Vanguard Wing was some AOS level busted.
Are they tier 1 or high tier 2? They're
Stormcast
somewhere
now?
in there.
A high tier 2 now,
yeah.
I would say.
I think
they're a fine army to learn the game with, but I don't see them winning tournaments unless you're...
Yeah.
Well, I think the list that people are looking at now is like this shooty Stormcast list, because the long strikes came down. They were one of the only things that came down.
Well, I mean, Retributors came down today.
Okay. So there's maybe a list there with a lot of the long strikes, and you're taking the anvils of Heldenhammer Chamber so that you can shoot in the hero phase as well. But I think tier 2. High tier 2.
Yeah. So
you're not threatening
probably
some of these other armies we've been talking about.
Yeah, you can get lucky though.
Oh, you can get lucky.
Probably the top.
You can get lucky with Dispossessed.
It's happened before. And so as we go over these and we rank them as tier 1 and tier 2, if somebody storms a tournament and just sweeps it with a super creative Ironwilled Arsenal list, like, more power to them.
Seriously, I'd be happy to be proved wrong
I love
on some
seeing,
of this stuff.
in the
awesome.
height of Sigmar 2, where everybody's running these gross power lists, and somebody sweeps Adepticon with Seraphon, and it wasn't jank. It was just a beautifully
it's just
designed,
like a well-played, objective playlist.
Yeah.
It's a list that says, like, okay, there's stuff now in the game that essentially does infinite damage to you if you try and fight it. So let's just not try and fight it.
Let's not try and
just
fight it.
Score objectives instead.
You try to come fight me, and I'm going to just keep putting skinks in front of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, puppy. So Stormcast. Pretty meh.
Yeah, I mean...
People play them still. People are going to play them. They're Stormcast.
I have a ton of them.
You've got a ton of them?
Yeah.
Everybody has a box of them somewhere.
Yeah.
People are going to put them on the table.
Yeah.
But the specific list of, like, all Sequitors and the Ballistas has probably gone up to, like, 2150, 2200 points now. Yeah. So it just has to cut a bunch of stuff.
Shadowblades.
What is that?
It's,
what is that? It's an assassin and Darkling.
You can literally make a list. Okay, if you can take a tournament with Shadowblades.
Yeah, then you're the hero.
Yeah.
You're my hero.
You are absolutely the greatest AOS player ever. You can build an all Shadowblades army. The
good news for Shadowblades players is they're just as deadly as they've ever been. Because they saw no points changes at all. So
Swift Talk agents got the Chariots,
the chariot treatment,
and Shadow Warriors got knocked down.
Oh yeah, they were 180 before.
I guess. I assume they got knocked down. Who cares if they knocking them up would just be spiteful.
So I would say.
Yeah, they were at 180, which.
For these niche armies that did actually see play, which was Swift Hawk, like Scourge Privateers, you got to say the big win is they just were printed in this book again. Because there's always the risk that they're just going to decide to not print this little table.
Or they'll move them to the back.
Yeah, you just don't have a legal army anymore. So big win for you guys. You can play with your Swift Hawk agents.
Keep doing your sweet Swift Hawk stuff. Yeah. Sylvaneth.
Get in a new book any week now when the shipping problem is over. And so I'm actually in a unique position to talk about this because I have actually played against the new Sylvaneth book.
Yeah.
Because the book was like released by accident on iTunes and then people got hold of it. So I was in Seattle a couple of weeks ago and played against one of my friends who's just built a new Sylvaneth army based on that new leaked book. And I played against it and it's really good.
Good.
It's really good.
Yeah, not surprised.
Kernoth Hunters are really good now.
The ones with the swords or the bows?
Sides.
Okay.
And block a 9 with sides. I was in that, so little cross-channel fertilization, I guess, here. The game that I played against that Sylvaneth list, you can see on YouTube on the Dimensional Cascade channel.
All right.
They stream games.
Cool.
And
I'll check it
a
out.
game from a couple of weeks ago. I play with a Skaven list against the Sylvaneth list, and I get smashed.
What are you playing rats for?
Because I didn't have my army with me because I was just like on a work trip to Seattle, so I used my friend's Gavin, and I did take the unkillable, whatever he's called, Warpseer.
Yeah.
But I took like a unit of 40 Storm Vermin who are garbage. It's like 500 points for 40
cool.
Storm Vermin. They were cool, but they were kind of garbage, so I got smashed by this new Sylvaneth list. So you can check that out online.
So I do see a huge nerf here, which is that, so we'll go over Sylvaneth when their book drops officially. The Awaken Wildwood being 3 to 6 Citadel wood models. That footprint's massive.
Yeah, but the Citadel wood is now different. Have you not seen the new Citadel wood model they're releasing?
No.
Okay, so this is probably all stuff we should just wait and talk about.
Okay.
But the new Citadel wood model is like individual trees, but they fit together to form like an area. It sounds weird.
They're not getting rid of the old one though.
So that you can still use.
Oh, that's not
as
the
like
Sylvaneth wood.
Not,
that's
right.
the Citadel.
It's
Forest.
still gonna have some other name you can use it, but this is a different thing.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wanderers.
Man, you're still in the book.
You are still in the book.
You can play with your models.
Sisters of the Watch looks like it went down.
Yep. And Sisters of the Thorn down 10.
Yeah.
It's all just positive for Wanderers. you're still in the book and everything. Well, a lot of stuff came down. So if you're having fun with Wanderers...
I think a mixed order army leveraging on Wanderers is not bad, but you definitely need tools from
other things.
Yeah.
Eternal Guard are an amazing unit at 70 points for 10.
Yeah.
They are a solid rock. I think they're a great ally for a lot of the other armies you see there.
Yeah, but are you taking those or are you taking Phoenix Guard?
Well, it depends. I mean, if you just want a little unit to hold an objective in your backfield, you may be taking Eternal Guard because they're 70 points.
Sure.
And they're still pretty solid. You can take them in, like... So some armies that struggle for models, or like cheap models like Ideneth, you can take Eternal Guard in there. Just get a little unit to put on the back of your
why
table.
not? 70 points, who
70
cares?
points,
I mean, it's that or a couple of endless spells you may not use.
But if you're playing pure Wanderers, you've got the same tricks as usual, disappear from a table edge and come back, and you just can do it cheaper now. So, good for you.
Yep. Keep being awesome.
Shall we talk about... So that's order finished. Shall we talk about the endless spells, which there's been some interesting changes.
Yeah, they rebalanced a ton of points for the endless spells.
They sure have. So
the most obvious one is the giant purple son of Shaiish.
Coming from 100 down to
50.
50 points. Wow.
I still think my entire problem with running endless spells is you have to have an army you don't mind if they run into you.
Yes.
Or you pick the ones that don't do that.
You have to pick the ones that don't, the ones you have a little more control over. Or, like you said, you play in such a way that it's much less likely to hurt you. The safe spell, in quotes, was the Ether Void Pendulum, right? My personal favourite. Because you put it on the table, you push it forwards, and then it can only go in that direction for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So that was 40 points. It's gone up to 50. I think it's still fine. I still take it every single game to slice my units of pink horrors in half and then kill stuff. I killed Gash last weekend with an Ether Void Pendulum. So here's why the Pendulum's great, right? If I'm going at the bottom of a turn, I cast it and leave it by your base. D6 mortal wounds then. Then we flip turns, and whoever gets the priority, whether I go first or you go first, it's doing another D6 mortal wounds.
Yeah, no, I know.
To that model.
When we played against each other in Syracuse.
Oh yeah, I was trying to do that. I wasn't doing it as successfully to Marathi because I was always going top of the turn.
Yeah, and I kept moving Marathi around.
And then you could just move her.
Yeah.
But that's how I killed Nagash. Popped it out, D6, switches turns, D6 again. So Pendulum is just in every one of my lists, and I'll pay 10 more points for it every time.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Chromatic Cogs, I think, are a fun spell. Having go up to 80. Man.
So the cogs were 60, which was already expensive, and it was only really worth it for armies who could massively benefit from that extra move.
Mm-hmm.
Things like Night Haunt, where you can pop up and then try and get a 7-inch charge rather than a 9-inch charge. For armies that depend on it so much like that, they'll probably be willing to pay the extra 20, I would say.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, probably. I think the Umbral Spell Portal is another one that deserved to go up.
Yeah, the Umbral Spell Portal is my other favourite. Well, my favourites went up.
Yeah, because you abuse them.
I abuse them, yeah. So that lets you shoot the spell across the table. So the Umbral Spell Portal is going to be worth... If you have a wizard who costs a whole lot of points, then it's worth paying the extra 70 to make sure that he doesn't just waste a turn being out of range with the spells.
Yeah.
So when I take a Lord of Change, I'm taking an Umbral Spell Portal every time.
Now, so I have an interesting thought about a bulk of the endless spells in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because we both played 8th edition.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember there was that fantastic moment where you would Purple Suns your
The
opponent.
Purple Sun!
Right? You get your 5-inch template.
Yeah.
You set it down next to him.
And then you're just rolling an initiative test, and if they fail, they die.
Yeah, but then it moved.
Yeah.
And it moved with the scatter dice.
Randomly.
And it moved like 3d6 with the scatter dice.
Well, the turn you put it out, you could shoot it out.
Right,
But
exactly.
then later turns, it could go wherever.
I think any of the ones that have alternating movements...
Scatter dice?
Either do a scatter dice, but I think the point cost should be extremely minimal.
Really? Just because of the risk of your opponent being able to throw it back?
I mean, you're basically... You're you're creating a hazard on the battlefield that could possibly hit you just as hard.
But they can only hit you just as hard next turn, and there were some that would have such an overwhelming effect at that point it can swing the whole battle.
Right, but they're not.
Case in point being the Geminids, right? You could throw that at somebody for -1 to hit or -1 attack, and then charge into them.
But the ones that, like, the Burning Head going down to 30 points, like...
Yeah, that's fine.
How is the Burning Head any different than the Suffocating Gravetide? Like, they're all
doing, like, D3 mortal wounds and can be thrown back at you.
Yeah.
And the Gnashing Jaws, very similar.
Yeah. And,
doing some wounds can get thrown back.
And again, Purple Sun, the model is awesome. If that was 30 points, I think people would play it.
You don't think they'll play it at 50? I think some will play it at 50.
Skaven.
Who don't care?
Or the, what does a Grosh Shaman cost you anyway? Who cares?
I think Zeech might play it with Kairos.
I think
you can flip a dice and auto-kill a hero.
Yeah. I think Zeech also has units that they can maneuver around it and things like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have, like, you can deploy a changeling in your opponent's deployment zone and then just unleash it on their army from there. So.
Yeah.
In general, it seems to be what you said. A lot of the ones that are just D3 mortal wounds here or there, but your opponent can move them, they've come down, which seems to be the right way. Pendulum, which, like I said, is the safe one, has gone up.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah, because that's just going to do reliable damage for you. The Balewind Vortex, I'm glad to see, has stayed just as deadly as it ever was. Because my Gaunt Summoner likes to sit on there and nuke things.
Yeah, no, it's... I don't know, I think 40 points isn't bad for it. It could go up to 50 points. I would like to see at some point in the future some kind of really minor 10-point spell.
Well, you've got the Malevolent Maelstrom at 10 points. Which is, for some armies, is actually a really good spell.
What is it?
So you place it, and then it lets you take an unbinding roll against every spell that gets cast within range of it. So it's good for an army that doesn't have much unbinding. You throw it out and then you get to unbind everything. Or
if you're at 1990 points...
Yeah, toss it in.
Yeah, toss it in.
Then you've got the Penumbral Engine at 100 points, which is not tempting anyone. Have you seen the War Scroll for that thing?
No.
It's garbage.
The one thing I did like here is they did give you all the points for the Forge World stuff.
They did.
Which they haven't done before.
Yeah, this is all in the additional pitch battle profile section. And a big win for the Chaos Dwarf lovers in the world. They finally...
big win for them.
They became an official army.
Yeah, Chaos Dwarves are actually...
Legion of Asgore is in the book.
And then a lot of it is the just sad remnants of Bretonia mixed in with everything else.
Yeah. Just like the order section here is just a shit show of
it's just a sad mess of stuff.
But it's like you've got things in here like a Skink Chief, but you can't even take that in a Seraphon army.
Or a Sorcerer's Son Dark Pegasus. Hey, weren't we saying we needed more heroes?
Yeah, you can't take that in Darkling Covens though unless...
Why not?
You can only take it in a mixed order army.
They just reprinted the model for people, too.
War Dancers, everybody's favourite Wood Elf unit that would be really cool in a Wanderer's army. Imagine the conversions people would do for that.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Great. But only in a mixed order army can you take...
I mean, there's so many fun models in here. Outside of Bretonia, which is obviously just the... Oh my gosh. They have hunting hounds in here, and I actually have models I can use for hunting hounds.
Don't do it.
They're 20 points apiece.
Garbage tier.
Oh, absolutely. But if you're running a mixed order army...
And you want a 20-point chaff model to just...
What would your opponent even do?
We'll just walk around it, I guess.
I mean, whatever its movement is. If you hit, like, a big model...
If you hit a big model?
You'll say have a 480 points of, Melusai on the board, and you put 2 hunting hounds in front of it, it's eating up a turn.
To walk around it.
No, you do it like the old 8th edition garbage where you
can't actually charge it.
No, you don't charge it. You stay 4 inches away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they just waste a turn walking around you.
You can't walk around it because you box them. Like you would do in 8th edition where you put 1 eagle at either corner.
Well, they could make it slither through the middle of them, maybe. Maybe if you get your bubbles just right. Yeah, they might have to kill them. Yeah, like the 8th edition eagle.
Yeah, I mean, so you do that 4 times and you spend 160 points to remove a near 500 point unit.
It's a surefire win strategy. I suggest you do that. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, it's almost worth it to watch your opponent like grind their teeth off playing against you.
You know those garbage endless spells we just talked about that do D3 wounds to every model they touch? I think one of those is just going to wipe them all off the table.
It served me right.
Yeah.
I wish the Carmine Dragon would drop 40 points.
Yeah, so we have all of the monstrous Arcanum from Forge World in there.
Because if you could throw... I have a Carmine Dragon. I don't know if I told you that.
I'm sure you do. You have one of most things sat in some box somewhere.
It's waiting on some other work to get done to it.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so that's the points.
That's that.
Yeah.
For us personally, a little bit of a nerf to your daughters, but you're still going to play them?
Yeah, I'm not...
Before you move on to other things.
Yeah.
You're always working on something. But I still think you got a solid army there.
Yeah, I'm not just terribly disappointed. I might blow the dust off of my Iron Jaws, because I do love those models.
And they're so cool now.
And they've gotten quite the buff.
And for me, I get a little buff, and I'm just going to win everything with Zeech now. It's my bold prediction for the year.
There you go.
I win everything.
Tom will be S tier. Not even Zeech, just you.
Just me. With my tricks. Alright.
So I think what we should do is cover the battle plans in the next session, because this went on for a while.
Yeah.
So
well,
our next session, we can cover some essential strategies, gameplay, why we keep talking about 25mm bases and how awesome they are with 2-inch range.
Sure.
Why it's important, some essential strategies of how to pile in your math right. And let's also cover the
new battle plans.
The new battle plans.
Let's try to play at least one of the ones that has changed significantly since the last book, and then we can even do a little more of a deep dive on that one. And there are some significant changes. A lot in terms of how they deploy, distances that you're going to start away from your opponent.
Scorched Earth. Wow.
The 8
just totally
objectives.
Different.
It's so different. You're going down the length of the table and you've just got this mass of objectives.
Yeah, I mean, some of the new ones they've added are great. They've streamlined the gameplay of a few of them.
Yes.
Relocation Orb doesn't look like it's as complicated.
No, I actually played Relocation Orb just last week with against the Slanesh player.
It's still the most fun thing in the world.
It was really fun. It's still really fun. It drifts less into like random corners because it doesn't hop twice now.
Right.
So it tends to spend a little more time around the center of the table, is my reading on that. But still really fun. Some of these others look like... well, let's just say, first of all, that Total Conquest, which had the douchiest deployment in the world ever, is now much better. That's the one that had like the crazy ziggy-zaggy deployment zone that you just had to measure out with dice every game. Yeah, there's now a nice old diagonal across the table.
It wasn't worth doing the... Okay, it was sweet that they tried to do something cool. Mm-hmm. But it was...
No, thanks.
Yeah, no thanks. Let's just do diagonals.
And especially not at a tournament where we're spending like our first 15 minutes. Just
you're spending 15 minutes
mathing out deployment zones. Anyway, we have some interesting stuff here. So let's try and play maybe Scorched Earth, because that looks crazy fun.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, next time will be some tactical discussion, some strategy discussion, less about the actual units, and then after that we can go into some of the individual books.
Maybe we'll have a Sylvaneth book to review at that
Possibly.
point. Talk about how they fit in.
Right.
Hot takes though. Who's up? Who's down? Who's the best?
Yeah.
After this.
Right. Well,
GHB.
let's finish this GHB point review with.
With who's up and who's down.
Yeah, I say Iron Jaws are the number one for me of going up.
Yep. Absolutely agreed.
The
number one army that
Free
stayed
Peoples are the biggest sleeper.
Okay.
I think somebody can put together a sweet Free Peoples list and it'll be awesome. I think the biggest down is... I'm hesitant to say Daughters, but nobody else really got much
I'm
of a
saying
nerf.
Daughters.
Yeah, I'd say Daughters got the biggest
definitely
nerf.
came down.
Yeah.
But it's not a huge nerf, which shows in general how reserved they've been here. It's
Right.
not a huge
no,
nerf.
I think they did. I think the nerf makes me angry because I don't get all my toys. But it's okay. I'll get over it soon enough.
But I think it's not going to be as big as the nerf. That
I mean, you remember a year ago where you came over here sobbing about the Zinch nerf.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
But that was, we can all agree that was a
much
heftier
more
nerf.
severe. Yeah.
That was a massive nerf. Anyway, yeah, that's when I decided I was playing Nighthaunt instead, and then I realized that Zeech is actually still okay.
Yeah.
If you're tricky.
After all that counseling.
Yeah. There was a lot of times in a room writing formulas on a wall, you know, mathing out bubbles and distances, and then I realized Zeech is still good. But I completely agree. Iron Jaws up most, Doc down the most, but still strong, and hopefully Feck punch to the face massively hard.
Yeah. I mean, it's what I like about AOS, particularly over 40k, is I feel like you can predict that somebody is, if they go up too high, they're going to get swatted down pretty hard.
Right.
Armies I would like to see get more adjustment up. Caradron.
It could make them even better.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think this is enough to tide them over to a new book. It's enough to have current players be like, all right, I can work with that until a new book just comes
because
along.
What I don't like is the eye-catching armies that new players buy into.
Right.
Not being good.
Yes.
And I'm not necessarily saying tier 1, but high tier 2.
Well, Ideneth has that problem a little bit in the eye-catching awesome models like the Wave Cloak guy and the Turtle. That you just want to buy those models, and then somebody's going to tell you like, oh, you should have just bought 20 eels instead.
I know.
And I think that they maybe didn't change the points enough to make those other models. And
tempting. I think like Daughters of Cain, you're either buying, and I'm using them as the counterexample because I think there's two reasons you get into Daughters of Cain. Number one is I think that they're still one of the top competitive armies. Which isn't the reason I got into them.
You just like naked murder chicks?
No. So a little history of me playing Daughters of Cain. I was going to do them in Age of Sigmar 1.
Back when they were just like compendium army.
Yeah.
It's like one of those other random order armies that we were talking about.
They had an invincible list.
Oh, right, because you could stack
the blood aura on the Cauldrons of Blood. So you could have this ridiculous, and it gave you +1 and a reroll. And you could stack both the +1 and the reroll. So you have 3-up save with 4 rerolls.
But you could still only reroll once. On the GHB 2017 rules, at least.
Oh, right. Yeah,
maybe before that.
Okay, so this was pre-2017.
Pre-17, okay.
Yeah, so I bought up a bunch of Witch Elves as they crashed in prices on the eBay.
The stock exchange.
Yeah.
The Warhammer Futures exchange.
Yeah, they had absolutely crashed. I mean, I was getting Witch Elves for like $15 for 20. Just outrageous. I mean, yeah, they were the 2nd-gen metal models. So the ones with the ones that I play with now, not the plastics. The plastics have always been, a pricier kit. And then I read the lore on what Marathi was up to and was like, I love
she's pretty sneaky.
somebody who's this terrible pretending to be good.
Yeah.
So I actually play Daughters of Cain because of the fluff.
Right. No, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of DOK players who claim something so.
Also, I like putting down the prettiest army in the tournament.
Yeah, it does look very pretty.
Yeah.
Got some amazing models in there. Well painted indeed.
Yeah. Although there's a bad paint job on a Daughters of Cain army is
just hideous.
Oh man, it's
because
so,
the models are just brought down so far.
Yeah, there is no room for
sloppiness.
Yeah, you have to be really tight.
They should look pristine and deadly.
Yeah, yeah. They need to look like a sharpened knife, not...
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like...
Not like you got your pot of contrast paint out.
Yeah. Whereas, like, contrast is made for Nurgle models.
Oh, for sure.
And, like, I've seen so many terribly painted Nurgle models. And the funny thing I find with looking at, like, a really well-painted Nurgle army is it almost catches me by surprise.
Right.
Because my first glance is like, Nurgle army. Huh.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. You actually did some,
Is that...
some highlights and stuff
Did you
here.
put eyelashes on that eye in his stomach? Oh, this is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Hand me all your models.
Right. yeah. You're not expecting it almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, and that's nothing against, you know, the models themselves. They have an aesthetic that is, you know, it's meant to be gross. Paint them gross.
Sure is.
Yeah.
But maybe in closing, we'll say that for anybody in our local area, Rochester, New York, there is a tournament on July 20th at Just Games.
Yeah.
Which is going to be maybe a first chance to break out these AOS 2.5, shall we call it, or GHB 2019 armies and
GHB
put them to the test.
Yeah.
So yeah, be cool to see people there.
Yeah, be great. I think we're both going.
Definitely going.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Till then, we'll see you on the tables.
Cheerio.